Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto x Grayfia Highschool DxD Part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for Part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. I often wondered if the future was set in stone, and if it truly was set from the very beginning, why even bother to fight against the odds in our lives? Where was the meaning behind our constant fighting? All the pointless fights between us humans just so to make our lives better? To fight for our homes, our families, to fight for what we thought was right. A difficult question if you asked me, a question I still ask myself nowadays. I thought that I had seen the horrors of war. The true horrors and pain that swallowed the shinobi nations with the ongoing Fourth Shinobi War. I thought that it was the most terrifying thing that would ever threaten our lands, but I was wrong. So terribly wrong with my assumption. I thought that after Madara's defeat, and finally, with Otsutsuki Kagaya's escape to one of her dimensions, peace would finally spread across the nations. And it did for a few years. The war had ended after only 2 days. But still so many shinobis had died in the midst of Obito's and Madara's madness. I still find it hard to believe that we managed to win the war after all. Without Sasuke's aid in the final battle, we would have surely lost. Madara had been defeated, but then came an even stronger foe, Kagaya Otsutsuki. It was a battle we could not win. Even Sasuke's and mine combined powers were not enough to match her. She was just too strong. No human being could fight her on equal grounds. All seemed lost in the end. We started to lose our hope. The moment she tried to kill us, Kagaya suddenly stopped in her attempt. She only looked me in the eyes before a lone tear escaped her right eye. And then she vanished. Vanished to one of her self-created dimensions, never to be seen again. But before she did, I heard her soft melodic voice inside my head. She gave me a warning. That someday in the future, I would call her again for assistance. To gain her assistance against an unseen terrible threat. She would wait for me. Wait for the day, which would mark the end of all things. I did not believe her words. I was foolish back then, foolish and young, and so the Fourth Great Shinobi War finally came to an end. The Mugen Tsukuyomi of Kagaya lifted with her departure, ending the illusion casted upon mankind. It was a time to celebrate. We were hailed as heroes, Sasuke and myself. None of the others knew what had happened, not even Kakashi or Sakura. Even Sasuke did not know of Kagaya's warning. The war had cost us deeply. The wounds were still fresh, and so it was decided to keep the alliance between the 5 great nations sealed for all eternity. To never let such a pointless and horrible war happen again. A wonderful decision back then. It was a great moment for all of us. We came back to our village to mourn our losses. So many had died. So many of my friends were dead, killed during the midst of war. I still remember their names, engraved into the memorial stone of Konoha. Niji Lee Hinata, Choji Inogen, Mako Testa, even Iruka-sensei, Gai-sensei, and my Jinchuriki fellow, Kurabi. They died protecting our world from a madman's dream. People died for less. I mourned for a long time, feeling responsible for their deaths. But I overcame my grief. I needed to, or I would spit on their belief, and the sacrifice they had made. Sakura's and Bachan's beating helped a lot for me to see reason. It was a rough time afterwards. We still had much to do, rebuilding Konoha from Pain's attack, improving relationships between the other villages to maintain our alliance, and many other things. Tsunade-ba even promoted me and Sasuke to Jonin, even going so far to name me the ambassador to all the other villages. It seemed I left quite the impression on the other Kages, even more so on one. She was truly one of a kind. But I was still young and fairly inexperienced with women, especially a grown-up woman. 2 years after, I finally managed to express my feeling for her. You could guess my joy when she returned them. I was so happy back then, and our wedding was just too perfect to be true. I even managed to convince Sasuke to be my best man. The expression on his usually stoic face when he learned of my soon-to-be wife. That alone was worth it. And only 1 year later did my wife grant me my deepest desire, my true dream. The dream of a family. Life could not get better for me. I was the happiest man ever, but it did not last long. None of us could have predicted it. None of us even knew how big the world, or rather the universe exactly was. We always thought that mankind would destroy itself. But it did not come from our world, not even from our own dimension. It was madness. Nothing could have prepared mankind for the upcoming disaster. Our extinction, all we stood for, all we had fought for, all our dreams and hopes destroyed in one single week. Against something we did not even know existed in the first place. Something against we stood no chance to win. Our entire race was doomed to extinction. Not a single human escaped the planet's destruction, except for me. Till these days, I still do not know how I survived. Why did I survive? Why was I saved from death while my family, my friends, my home, everything I ever fought for, were destroyed by the Legion? Even now, I do not have an answer to that question. I came to another world. Or dimension to be precise. It was a strange world. Even though humans lived on this planet, they were not like me. They were pitifully weak, both mentally and physically. How they managed to survive without chakra I did not know. And then I slowly started to realize that I was the last one. The last survivor of my own home world. I was alone in this new world. I did not know what to do any longer. I had lost my spirit to fight and live, the loss of my family being too much to bear. And so I simply wandered across the world, trying to find something to do, a new purpose to live. And as the years passed on, I became aware that I did not age any longer. I still looked like I did on my 20th birthday. I had not even realized my own powers, power I did not have before the destruction of my homeworld. I had become so strong, I had become something more, something stronger than I could ever imagine. It took me decades to master my newfound powers, and during my travels, I learned more of this world. A world not just inhabited by humans, but also by yokais, angels, devils, and even gods. The surprise was evident on my face when I first became aware of their existence. My curiosity rose. The underworld. An interesting place, even though I preferred the human world. I quickly lost interest, especially since I visited the place during a war that swallowed the Dark Lands. A war between devils, and I had enough of war. It was during that time that I met her. I found her injured, near the point of death, between the frozen bodies of countless devils. I healed her. We got to know each other, we took pleasure in our talks, and when I finally left the underworld, she came with me. We traveled the whole world for a century, and before I knew it, I once more had a purpose in my life. I was no longer alone, I was happy once more, and I knew that I could not let the same happen to this world. To my new home. The moment I looked into her beautiful eyes, I knew what I had to do. I knew what and whom I had to protect. Even this world was not safe from them. They would find this dimension, and they would destroy it. It would suffer the same fate as my home. I could not let that happen again. I might have lost my will to fight and to live, but now, I had something to fight for. Yes, it would not repeat itself. This world, full of humans, devils and angels, so unprepared for the real threat outside of their world, they would not know how to protect themselves from the shadows that lurked in the dark parts of the universe. It was my duty, my fight. Yes, this world was worth saving. I still remember the day it happened. Even though I desperately tried to forget about it, but to no avail. The day, which heralded the beginning of the end. The destruction of my home world. It should have been a joyful day. A day to celebrate our victory. But what came, we could not even imagine the horrors that were unleashed upon us. Why had it come so far? Why did we have to suffer so much? Fighting for our mere survival, a vain fight if you asked me. I can still remember the happy times I shared with my friends and family. Before it all started, before darkness consumed our home. Yes, life had not always been easy. My siblings and I had much to endure during our earlier years. Having lost our parents while we were only but kids, I was responsible for my 2 younger siblings. I needed to protect them. I was feared in our village, feared for something I took control over. I never wanted this power. But I had to protect my family. The village did not want us, did not want me any longer, and so we were forced to flee. To search for a new home. A true home. And a new home we found. Yes, we finally found our place. A place full of friends, a warm home, which welcomed us, despite my strange unwanted power. I was so happy to finally have a place to call my home. To finally know my family in safety. It was the start of our new life, a good life. The years passed on, and the guild, which we joined, became even stronger and well known over the continent. I learned to live with my power, to control my power, and grew stronger with each passing year. But the moment I thought that I had lost my sister, I became weak. I became tired of the fighting and simply wanted a calm life for my remaining sibling and myself. Those 3 years were truly a difficult time for us, and even for my guild, which I considered family. But she was not dead. My sister did not die that fateful night like I had thought. We were reunited once again, and together we faced many adventures. Strong enemies, who threatened our world, but we always managed to win in the end. The bonds of our family and friendship were always victorious. Even after we awoke from a 7-year stasis, we managed to recover. Much had changed during these years. Our guild had suffered greatly with our departure, and we had to show the world once more the strength of our guild. A perfect chance to do so came months after. The Naruto. The Grand Magic Games. We could prove ourselves. We could reclaim our position as strongest guild. We were excited to win. We aimed to win, to fight for those who were left behind. We needed to make amends, as they had suffered, cried for 7 years. We had to fight for them. The competition was strong. The fights were ruthless. Much was at stake. While we slowly managed to regain our reputation and the support of the audience, we never suspected what happened behind the scenes. The Naruto were only a cover. A cover to absorb the magical power of the fighting guilds. There was a portal, which was going to be used to travel back in time to kill a certain dark mage. The strongest mage who had ever existed. Project Eclipse. Their intentions were good, but none of us could have known what would truly happen. And the moment our team had won the games, it began. I still do not know how it really happened. I had not been there when the portal was opened. That probably saved my life now that I think about it. We were truly foolish. Believing that the portal could also be used as a weapon to kill over 10,000 dragons. How foolish of us, but we believed it. And we suffered the consequences. The truth is, we were all played for fools, as the portal was never meant to be used as a weapon. It was not even meant to be used as a time travel portal. In the end, the one who had manipulated us was manipulated himself, believing that he could use the portal to reign over the world. But it did not happen like he predicted. I remember a red light, the sky became blood red, the ground around the city shook and crumbled, and then I felt it. This dark feeling, like nothing I've ever felt before. It was terrifying, and only seconds later did the sound and stench of death swallow the city before spreading over the whole planet. I can never forget the screams of my friends, their cries, their fallen bloody forms. Nothing could have prepared mankind for the darkness that stepped through the portal. Death came and swallowed the land. It came and destroyed everything I ever cared about. I was completely helpless as I watched the city burn, the countless dead bodies that were devoured by these creatures, those foul creatures, slaughtering every living soul that came across them. So many died. I still am unable to find the words to describe it. I only want to forget about it. But the pictures still haunt me in my sleep. I saw them dying one by one. One by one of my friends died a painful, gruesome death, their very souls ripped to shreds. I saw my siblings dying right in front of my eyes. My little brother and even my little sister. I held her blood-covered body in my arms while she drew her last breath. She smiled at me, her bloody lips trying to smile like she always did, her eyes slowly losing their beautiful shine. I was forced to watch her die a second time. I felt so weak that moment. I could not even protect myself. I did not even want to. I just wanted to follow my family and friends. But death did not come for me that day. I was saved. I do not know how he appeared. I do not know where he even came from. I just know that he did. My savior stood right in front of me, killing the creature that threatened to claim my life effortlessly. He then slowly turned his head to look down at me. He gave me a small smile, and before I could react, my world turned black. I awoke in this world, so different from mine. I never forgave myself letting my family and friends die while I managed to survive. I often asked myself why I survived. Why could not my siblings be saved instead? Why was I saved and not them? I still do not understand, and I still have not adapted to this new world. I did not deserve to live, but I did. I survived the destruction of my home. I know that my savior managed to rescue some other people from my home world, but I did not want to meet them. I grieved the loss of my siblings and friends. I do not know how to live any longer, how to live without my family. I never really thanked my savior. I still think I did not deserve to be saved that day. I lost my belief and hope. I'm useless. Nighttime, the capital city Lilith, underworld. Silence reigned over the largest and most populated city of the underworld. Not many devils were currently out on the streets, even though their race was mostly night active. But for the sake of the non-pure-blooded devils, mostly former humans, the flow of time was adjusted to match the one flowing in the human world. And so it came that even the true devils adopted to the new lifestyle, sleeping during the artificially created night. After the Great War hundreds of years ago between the three major factions, known as the Devil Race, the angels from heaven and their counterparts, the fallen angels, many things had changed for the underworld. With the loss of their four strongest leaders, known as the Yanai Mao or the Four Great Satans, peace with their mortal enemies was essential for the survival of the Devil Race. What followed was not a real peace treaty, but more like a fragile truce between them, but it was better than nothing. The three factions had lost their leaders and most of their forces. They could not allow another war to occur, or it would mean the end of them all. Unfortunately, not all devils were satisfied with this truce, seeing it as a disgrace to their proud and superior race. They wanted nothing more than to continue the war, even though it would only lead to their destruction. They wanted to avenge the death of their fallen leaders, but not every devil had the same opinion. Many devils, especially the younger generation, wanted to maintain peace with the angels, and as no compromise could be found, war was inevitable. The underworld, mostly the territory controlled by the devils and not the fallen angels, was swallowed by a terrible civil war, bringing death and destruction to the lands. The losses were heavy, too heavy, as they had not yet recovered from the Great War. The descendants of these four Satans, even though fighting fiercely, were slowly pushed back by the younger devils, who had formed an alliance to resist and take control over the underworld. This anti-Satan faction managed to banish the few remaining loyalists to the most remote regions of the underworld, thus ending the civil war after many years. Four young devils, responsible for the victorious ending, took the leadership over their fellow kin. Since that day, they were known as the new Yanai Mao, taking the position of Lucifer, Leviathan, Beelzebub and Asmodeus. Lilith became the new capital city and the seat of the four Satans. It was one of the most secured places in the whole underworld, making it nearly impossible to infiltrate. But now that the Mao were gone to their respective family homes, their guards had also left with them. A perfect opportunity to strike. A lone figure could be seen standing on one of the many high houses in the middle of Lilith. The figure wore a simple black coat, the face hidden by a hood, giving no sign of the figure's identity. Sighing deeply, the clothed person gazed at one of the tallest buildings inside the city, the Bank of Lilith, Crocus. Deep within the coffins of the bank laid something of great value, something her master wanted, needed at all costs, and she would bring it to him. She would not fail. Inside the bank, hundreds of meters below the Earth's surface, it was dark inside the narrow passage. Dark and moist, as water dripped down from the cold stone roof. Only a few weak light sources illuminated the long corridor. It was only one of countless gangways below the capital bank Crocus, the devils having built a true web of passages hundreds of meters underneath the earth to guard their treasures. But this passage was special. It only led to one single vault, buried deep underneath masses of hard rock and dirt. The silence of the dark corridor was shaken by the sudden sound, followed by an amused chuckle. Bless you, Kiso. I hope you haven't caught a cold. Thanks, man. Oh, how much I hate this fucking post. Any idea when we'll be relieved? His partner only shook his head. No idea, but I bet we still have guard duty for another 4 hours or so. Kiso sighed deeply, wiping his nose clean. Shame. I fucking hate it down here. Always wet and so stuffy, not to forget the horrible smell, and even after all these years, I still don't know what the hell we are even guarding here. The second devil guard only shrugged, leaning his back against the cold stone, his spear loosely held in his right hand. Who knows, I bet not even the higher-ups know what it is, but that shouldn't concern us. We only have to guard it, nothing more, nothing less. His partner scratched his chin. If you say so, but I just wonder who the hell would want to steal something no one even knows anything about. This is just plain and simple and useless task. Maybe you're right. Before Kiso could voice his other complaints, the air suddenly grew cold, making the two guards tense. Or hasn't it just gotten much colder? His fellow guard felt the same, seeing as even their breaths became visible to the naked eye. The two devil guards grew nervous, looking around the narrow corridor into the darkness. I've got this really bad feeling, maybe we should call rain. Kiso could not even finish as his voice was swallowed by the torrent of blood that escaped his mouth. His fellow guard was not even able to react as he suffered the same fate, something sharp having slitted their throats in less than a second. Both devils sank to the ground, blood spraying out of their throats. They desperately tried to stop the bleeding by pushing their hands against the horrendous wound, but they knew it was in vain. A lone figure emerged from the dark of the gangway and calmly walked in their direction. Kiso watched the black-clothed person when she came to stop right in front of the sealed door to the vault. His vision became blurred. A last gurgling sound escaped his bloody lips as a sharp spear of ice pierced his hearth, killing him instantly along with his partner. The intruder did not even bother to look at the downed forms of the two guards, who were lying lifelessly in their own pool of blood. Her attention was solely fixated on the heavy metallic door, protected by powerful sealing magic. She touched it with the palm of her right hand and slowly, a layer of thin ice spread over the door. The powerful use of magic made even the passage freeze over with thick white-blue ice. The door hinges froze and burst into thousands small ice bits. Sending another powerful magic pulse out to disable the last magic seals, the heavy door finally fell to the ground, creating a strong cloud of dust. The figure stepped into the small vault, her eyes immediately landing on the weakly illuminated chest on the stone podium. She needed to act quickly now. Surely her earlier power rise had drawn attention. Better she would not risk a confrontation now. Her master counted on her. Walking in front of the simple chest, she touched the cold rotten wood, and with another wave of her magic power, it opened. Her eyes glowed underneath the hood as she saw the reason for her coming. Her master would get his wish. At the same time, Gremry Estate, Underworld. Her home was still as she remembered it to be. Even though it had been only 3 months since her last visit, it still felt like years to her. A small smile graced her delicate lips as the young woman walked across the impressive hallway of her family estate. Welcome home, Ria-sama, said girl gave a smile at the bowing maid before she resumed her walk. Being the second child and heir of the prominent clan, Rias Gremry was well known throughout the underworld. Even though she disliked to be seen as only the princess of her clan, she was still proud of her family's name, being one of the last pure-blooded devil clans after the Great War and Civil War. Still, she often wished to be seen as only Rias, just Rias. That was one of the main reasons why she went to the human world, where she was not known for her stature as devil or Gremry princess. But she still missed her home, and so she often came to visit her family in the underworld. Stopping in front of one of the many mirrors, which decorated her family's estate, the young woman gazed at her reflection. What she saw made her hum in appreciation, knowing very well why she was seen as the most beautiful girl in her school. Her long beautiful crimson hair, which reached past her waist, was truly what made her stood out from the rest. She was really proud of her silky hair, several bangs covering her forehead and framing her pretty face. Her eyes were of a brilliant blue color with a hinge of sea green, her creamy pale skin doing well to accentuate her feminine features and plump lips. She was even one of the tallest girls in her class, and of course, due to her being a devil, her body was far more developed than an average human girl. Although much to her ire, she would never be able to be best her friend and queen in certain aspects. The Gremry heiress was clothed in a yellow blouse, showing a generous amount of her ample cleavage, while her black skirt went slightly past her knees, giving a good sight to her creamy long legs. To complete her outfit, she wore black high heels and a blue jacket against the cold of the night. Yes, Rias could be more than proud of her figure. If only someone could see past her beauty and see the inner her. If only. Shaking her head to get rid of the upcoming thoughts, Rias quickly stepped through the double doorway into the large spacey living room, illuminated by several huge lamps on the ceiling. A long wooden table took most of the space in the middle of the hall. Rias smiled as she saw her older brother sitting near the head of the massive table, silently going over countless papers, which needed his signature. The eldest child of the Gremory clan looked up from his paperwork, and his eyes immediately brightened when he saw his little sister. Before she could blink, Rias was already in his arms, being spun around while her brother rubbed his cheek on hers. Rias tan. Her cheeks immediately reddened in embarrassment, struggling to get out of her brother's vice hug. Oni-sama put me down. Now. Not wanting to earn her ire, the male quickly complied and put her back on her feet, although he smiled brightly at his lovely little Nachan. Adjusting her clothes and trying to regain what little dignity she had left, the crimson-haired princess huffed before slapping her brother's chest, making him wince. Jerk! You haven't changed at all during these last months, but I still missed you, Oni-san. I hope you stay for a while? Father and mother would surely be happy to have you here for a bit longer. Hi, chuckling, her older brother went back to his seat, followed by his sister who sat down on a near chair. Brushing some strands of hair behind her left ear, Rias gazed over the massive amount of papers on the table. Looks to me like this won't be a vacation for you, huh? Sighing deeply, her older brother massaged his temple. You have no idea, Rias tan. I fear I can't spend much time with you after all, even though you need your big Aniki so much. Sniff. Already seeing your hurt pretty face makes me so sad. Sniff. Rias' right eyebrow twitched dangerously, although her face remained impassive as she watched her brother wiping his fake tears away. Keep telling that to yourself, Oni-ibaka. Seriously. Why do I have such a siscon as brother? Yes, her brother was truly an interesting devil. Being born as the first child of the current head of the Gremory clan, he would have been the heir. But due to his efforts in the civil war, her brother along with 3 other powerful devils took over as the new Satans. Even if it was hard to believe, her brother was the leader of the 4 Satans and currently, the strongest devil among his kin. He was Surzek's Lucifer, formerly Gremory, but most of all, he could be the most childish person she had ever met in her life, despite him being the leader of the Yandai Mao. Yeah, even she still found it hard to believe sometimes. Surzek could be viewed as a male version of her. He was quite handsome, if she believed the talk among the female maids of the estate, having the same bluish-green eyes as her and shoulder-length crimson-red hair, as it is usual in her family. He was nearly a head taller than her, clad in his usual black evening robe and not his traditional Satan attire. Sending his paperwork a heated glare, Surzek turned his attention now completely to his sister, grinning brightly. So Riastan, what brings you here at this late hour? I know, you missed me too much, didn't you? Yes, no need for further words. I know I need to look more after you. My little Riastan is still too young to live alone. I should have known. MH, if only I could visit you more often, having your big Aniki with you would surely brighten your day, wouldn't it, Riastan? Groaning, the young woman slapped her right cheek in embarrassment and fury. Only her brother, despite loving her more than it should be, always managed to bring her nerves to the point of breaking. Nothing of that sort, Oni-ibaka, though I did miss you. Ignoring his cheeky and stupid grin as best as she could, Rias' demeanor became serious again. I just came back from my monthly visit and I wanted to see you all before going to bed, although I may guess Tu-san and Ka-san are off to visit one of the other families. I can't feel their magic power inside the estate. Yes, they are currently at the ball, which is thrown at the Citri estate. You know how close our 2 clans are. The Mao put the pen on the table, leaning his head on his right-hand palm. But this is not the only reason for your visit, is it? True enough. A small smile graced her delicate lips. You may not believe it, Oni-san, but I'm sure I have found a powerful new member for my peerage. Oh, do tell so. A human student from my school has gathered my attention. My guess is that he has a powerful sacred gear inside his body. I even dare to say it may be one of the 13 Longinus, although which one, I cannot say for sure. Now that managed to raise one of Surzek's eyebrows. Interesting, it seems luck is on your side, Riastan. Having such a powerful servant in your peerage is surely bound to bring you fame in the future. You still lack many pieces after all, so when do you plan to reincarnate him? You're waiting for a better opportunity? Nodding, Rias blew another strand of hair out of her face. I am not sure when I'll be able to reincarnate the sacred gear wielder, though I do plan to do it in the following weeks if no better chance arises. Fortunately, Sona has shown no further interest in him and given me even free rein to add him into my peerage. She is close to have a complete set of pieces. Lastly, I heard she managed to reincarnate another sacred gear wielder, the one she already had her eyes set on. Surzek closed his eyes, chuckling slightly. Ah yes, little Sona-chan. Serafal-chan always speaks so highly of her little sister during our meetings. She seems to manage very well. Our little siblings grow up so fast, and sniff, I'm not able to see my little Riastan sniff during her growth. Sniff. A tired sigh escaped her lips as Rias watched her brother going from serious into an emotional state, her left eyebrow twitching all the while. Fair enough, she should have gotten used to it by now. Hearing little footsteps outside the hall, the girl turned her head and not a second later did the doors open. Oba-chan. A beautiful smile sneaked on Rias' lips as she extended her arms to welcome the small bundle of joy, who nearly crashed against her chest. Missed you, Oba-chan. The crimson-haired princess lifted the young boy off his feet, getting a good look at him. Your auntie missed you too. Oh my, Milchan, you've grown so much in these last months, already getting much heavier and stronger, are you not? The small boy giggled cutely while enjoying his aunt's attention. Yeah, not long and I'm taller than you, Rias Oba. I am sure of it. Rias' amused grin did not leave her face, bringing her little nephew closer to her chest while she sat back on her chair. Both family members giggled while the young woman rubbed her cheek against the small boy's one. "But you'll still be my cute little nephew," Millikas Gremory, her nephew and the son of Sirzex Lucifer. The second heir of the House Gremory had only just reached his 10 years, the little boy being nearly the exact replica of his father. Short, spiky crimson hair and the same facial traits, although his eyes were a deeper shade of red. Her nephew was currently dressed in his pajamas, meaning he was just about to be brought to bed, or he might even have sneaked out of bed, difficult to tell sometimes. "Ka-chan sends you, Ryasoba, so I had to say goodnighty to you too." His cute face made Rias even happier before she started to tickle him, earning some cute laughs from her nephew. In the meantime, Sirzex watched the exchange with a small smile. The sight of his family always managed to raise his spirits up after hours and hours of endless paperwork. This was one of the moments where he knew that the terrible war he fought in had been worth it. Even though the three factions were not truly at peace, life had gotten better for the new generation. He would do everything to maintain the peace for his race. The Mao clapped his hands, earning the attention of the still cuddling duo. "Not that I want to interrupt this little family reunion, but should you not already be in your bed by now, my son?" Millikas only grinned. "But Tu-chan, Ryasoba has come home and Ka-chan said I could come and say goodnighty, nay Ka-chan?" The doorway opened once again. He missed his aunt after all. Rias smiled at her sister-in-law. "Of course he did, who wouldn't?" Sirzex sighed happily before his eyes fell upon his lovely wife. "Still, I am surprised you even allowed Milkun to come and greet her. Last time when Riastan came in the middle of the night, you didn't allow me to leave the bed to greet here." The Satan sulked while a small rain cloud floated over his head. "But my love, you should have seen our son's cute face. I couldn't help but comply to his wish." Her gentle smile seemed to lighten up the hall. "One time does not hurt, you know how Milkun loves his aunt." Yeah, Millikas beamed all over his face. "You're my favorite auntie after all, Ryasoba." "I'm your only auntie, Mil-chan." Rias smiled lovingly at her nephew, who giggled. Smiling, Sirzex turned to his wife, who came to stand next to him, her eyes never leaving her only child. "He didn't cause you too much trouble, I hope? Normally he only wants to sleep after I told him a small fairy tale. How did you even manage to bring him to bed, Kagami-chan?" Her smile never vanished. "I just promised to tell him the story how we meet all those years ago." Kagami Belmont, the wife and queen of Sirzex Lucifer. Even though being a high-class devil to one of the noblest clans, she was one of the kindest women Rias had ever met. She was not arrogant like most of her peers or even pampered. Her older brother would not have fallen for her in the first place if she was. The Belmont clan was just like the Gremory clan, one of the 34 remaining pillars these days, even though their numbers had suffered greatly during the Civil War. It was only due to the wealth and power of the remaining members that they were even considered a noble clan even till these days. Their mastery over earth magic was unrivaled, but their true power lay in one particular member, Kagami Belmont. She was the only devil who had perfected the use of earth magic beyond what could be considered possible, having gained control not just over earth magic, but also over magnet magic. Because of her Gitan abilities, Kagami was able to control Sakin, or gold dust magic like it was commonly known, making her a fierce opponent and powerful ally during the Civil War. And despite all her power, she never looked down on her fellow devils. Her kindness was well known and gained her a lot of fame and popularity with the younger devils. It was one of the traits which drew Sirzex towards her. Ria's father had told her that his only son was a nervous wreck the first time he gathered the courage to ask her out. Their first date could only be seen as a disaster. Everything that could go wrong went wrong, but to his surprise, Kagami did not mind much, finding it cute how the normally strong male was reduced to a quivering mass. Needless to say, Sirzex was overjoyed when she asked for another date, and from that day on, their relationship grew only stronger to the point where they finally consumed their love during their wedding. But his greatest joy was when his wife gave him a healthy son, who they named after her deceased brother. They were truly a great couple, and even if Rias was happy for her brother, she always felt jealous her brother had married the woman he came to love over the last century. But for her, it seemed that fate was not in her favor. Shaking her thoughts off, Rias eyed her sister-in-law. Kagami was without a doubt a beauty. Her long silky light brown hair fell down to the mid of her back while two longer hair bangs framed her flawless face and rested on top of her covered bosom. Millikas had his red eyes from his mother, even though hers had a lighter shade. She did not even need much makeup to make her stand out from her peers, only a bit of red lipstick to accentuate her flawless bronze skin, her fingernails coated in a thin layer of black nail lac. The heiress of the Belmont clan was dressed in a formal black yukata, which was kept together by a red slash wrapped around her waist. Rias could not help but feel jealous sometimes, her sister-in-law being often considered one of the most beautiful female devils of the underworld. And many younger devils envied her relationship with Sirzex, the two of them already considered the most popular couple in the underworld. Letting her cute nephew out of her arms, she watched as he tackled his mother, hugging her legs. Ria's eyes became a bit dull as she watched the exchange between parent and child, the loving embrace when Kagami lifted her son up to hold him, her soothing voice when she whispered into his ear, gaining a sweet giggle in return and the proud look on her older brother's face as he told them to finally move to bed. She closed her eyes. Sometimes it truly hurt seeing them so happy, the sight of a loving husband and wife with their child, the joy of having a person truly love you for whom you are. She wanted their happiness, even though she knew that her chance for actually having a person to love in the near future was nearly non-existent. Rhea bit her bottom lip, trying not to gain too much attention. She would do everything to have a choice for her future, the choice to marry a person she might come to love. Sending the family a longing gaze, the crimson-haired princess wondered if there was someone out there who could make her feel special, someone who just saw her as Rias. Only time would tell. The city of Ko, outskirts, Japan. Hot steam filled the spacious, luxurious bathroom as the glass door to the shower silently opened. A tall blond man stepped out, covered in countless drops of water that dripped down his athletic build. Sighing pleasantly, he quickly pulled a towel out of the wooden shelf to his left and dried his hair off. Wrapping the towel around his waist, the blond man moved towards the sink and gazed at the mirror right in front of him. He sighed melancholy as he eyed his appearance. So much has changed these past decades. Damn, I've truly gotten old, even though only mentally. All the pain and losses I was forced to endure, I can hardly even remember my old life. Remember her. Carefully, the man touched a nasty-looking scar, which went straight through his left eye, degrading the otherwise handsome face. He winced as the memories came back, but what stood out most was the huge scar, which covered most of his upper chest, making it appear that something had tried to rip him to shreds. Even though his healing factor was still exceptional and had gotten even stronger, he did not allow the ugly scar to heal. It was a reminder for him, reminding him of his failure. His failure to protect his family. Naruto took a deep breath before he steeled himself and left the stuffy bathroom. Entering his spacious bedroom, he walked straight to the large table next to his broad bed. Licking his dry lips, he eyed the countless liquors, which he kept on the desk before grabbing a bottle of brandy and poured some of the cold liquid into a glass, followed by 2 ice cubes. Shaking his head, he took hold of the glass and stopped in front of the large window, gazing hollowly at the beautiful sundown that transpired outside his home. The late hour still sent some rays of sun into his bedchamber, casting wide shadows over the floor and walls. Beautiful, majestic, and yet so deadly at the same time, nature has sure given us such beauty to feast our sight on. A shame humans tend to ignore the wonders of nature, being more concerned with their pointless tasks. Such a shame indeed. Taking a good gulp of the brandy, Naruto clicked his tongue, enjoying the cold liquor flowing down his throat. This world is not ready yet. Pouring the last of his drink down his throat, he sat on the bed edge, putting the glass back down on the counter. His eyes became dull, the eyes of a hardened warrior who had seen much in his life, too much, having seen the good of life, but more so the gruesome side of life, things he would never forget, and still haunted him even in his deepest dreams, never allowing him to completely forget them. It will not be the same here. Not as long as I still live. Too much lies at stake this time. The blonde-haired man did not show any signs of surprise when the door to his private chamber opened and someone stepped inside before gently closing it once more. He could hear the soft sound of clothing falling to the wooden floor, and only seconds later did the bed slightly shake as the person crawled onto it. A small smile found its way on his lips as 2 slender yet strong arms wrapped around his neck, pulling the rest of a warm naked body against his back. Naruto now smiled in content as he felt 2 soft pillows press against his back while the owner's head rested on his right shoulder, her warm breath tickling his ear and cheek, letting pleasant sensations run through his body. His right hand came up to caress her smooth arms. May I presume that the mission I gave you was a success? Naruto, in fact, did not even need to voice his question, as he knew that the woman was very eager and followed his orders without complaints. She had never failed him since he first met her all those years ago. Not once. The woman nodded slightly, pressing herself harder against his back. Of course, Naruto-kun. It took me a bit longer than I predicted, but in the end, it was quite easy to gain possession, though it came to a little bloodshed. I hope this will not be a problem for us. Her soft and loving voice was like music to his ears, her warm embrace giving him the hope and comfort he needed. His eyes became more determined. Yes, this was the path he needed to take. I see, nothing to fear, my dear. I never expected you to gain possession of the stone unnoticed. Now that I think about it, he might have been more suitable to get it, but Hellas, I already gave him another mission. Naruto closed his eyes while continuing to rub her arms. Did you kill all witnesses? The woman nodded. I did, although I wasn't able to completely erase all traces of my ice magic that may become a problem in the future, even though the only one they know who can use this form of magic is Leviathan Seraphal, one of the Yonai Mao. It's not much of a problem then. The underworld does not know of your existence yet, as they presume you had died long ago. It should remain so, at least for the time being. Our intel was correct after all. Your informant did a good job. Surely the information was not easy to gather. He is the best spy I ever met. He may have been a damn opponent in my previous life, but now it would be much more difficult to gather the pieces without him. But enough of that. Let me see it. The woman did not answer. She only stretched her left arm out. Naruto took the clue and stretched his own free hand out. A small, but heavy object fell into his open hand palm. The former Jinchuriki brought the piece closer to his face, scrutinizing it with his powerful eyes. It seemed like a simple unimportant polished stone, not bigger than his palm. The jewel was in a deep green color, and even though it had been long since forgotten and sealed away, he could still feel the power within it. The number 3 was engraved into the jewel. Yes. A step closer to our goal. You did well, as expected. You never disappoint me. The woman sighed happily, tightening her embrace, her face nuzzled into the golden shining mop of hair, taking in his scent. What will we do now? Surely our presence will be noticed by the 3 factions with my actions last night. They may not exactly know who did it, but now they will actually try to search for the responsible. Someone who can break into their facility nearly unnoticed is a risk. A risk they will not leave uninvestigated. Soon they will come for us. Naruto hummed softly. Let them be. They still don't know of us, they aren't even able to sense our presences, so they are of no concern to me. A far greater threat will soon arrive in this world. Very soon, so the pieces are starting to move. The 2 gazed at the last rays of sunshine. Yes, we need to prepare ourselves. This world won't be ready to fight this war. Know the slaughter that will undoubtedly swallow these lands. None of them has what it takes to stop the imminent invasion. We are their only defense, although a weak one. Is there no hope? Her question made him pause. It was the same question she had voiced when he was still a human. When he still felt human, a long time ago, too long ago. He did not have an answer back then. His world had ended in less than a week, but now he had one. No, there is. As long as we stand and fight for this world, for our future, for all the people that had to suffer, we will fight the darkness that threatens to swallow and corrupt this world. I won't let it repeat itself. I won't let their deaths be in vain, not as long as I still have some fighting spirit left in me. You taught me that after all, huh? You were the one who gave me back my will to fight, to live, I should say. The woman smiled. She always did when she saw a fraction of his true self. She loved the man he had become, or the man he had always been. He still fought despite all the destruction that had happened to him and his world. He was a true fighter, a beacon of hope for this world, even though the humans and other races will never know of this. He was a person she never thought would come across her, and yet here she was. She was probably the only person who truly knew him. She wanted him, she desired him more than anything else, and she would have him. No matter the cost or who would dare to stand in her way, his heart would always be hers. A father to her children should this world still live after the war. She smiled even wider as she listened to his strong heartbeat. She loved the sound of his heartbeat, as it always made her feel at peace. The remaining gems are still needed. She only nodded. He chuckled weakly. What would I be if not for you? Her delicate hand came up and grasped his chin, gently turning his head to face her. Royal silver hair, like he had only seen it on one person, always managed to catch his attention and made him breathless with admiration. Even though the sun had already disappeared beyond the horizon, her hair was still shining and casted some light across his bedchamber. Her matching beautiful silver eyes gazed lovingly into his very own pair while her beautiful flawless face glowed brightly. Her red-coated full lips formed into a pretty smile, always managing to give him the happiness and the warmth he needed. Yes, she was definitely one of a kind. He would not let anyone have her. She was his for all eternity. I think we both know what the answer would be, do we not, Naruto-kun? He chuckled warmly, his right hand traveling through her long, beautiful and silky hair, bringing her head even closer to his. She did not resist, her seductive smile never leaving her delicate lips. I would still be sulking and pitying myself. Yes, I would still be a nervous wreck if not for you. If not for your love and belief, I wouldn't know what I had become. Only an empty shell living without a purpose, I suppose. She hummed softly, already feeling his warm breath on her lips. We still have much to do. This is only the beginning. Our greatest challenge has yet to reveal itself. True, she carefully traced down his whisker marks, enjoying how he slightly leaned into her soft touch. We are few in numbers, and each one of the 3 factions, as well as the humans and yokais, will see us as threat. We are alone against this world and the looming darkness, Naruto-kun. The blonde man briefly closed his eyes, enjoying the loving touch of his woman before he gazed at her, his beautiful and mysterious eyes capable of controlling life, which were filled with pure determination. Alone, you say? That may be true, but far more powerful we are. They are nothing compared to us. They can view us as threat for all I care, nothing that we couldn't handle, because in the end, they are meaningless. Yet still, I would prefer if they would see things our way when the time comes. It would mean nothing to protect this world if its inhabitants could not see what the real threat is. The silver-haired beauty gave him the most radiant smile he had ever seen. It made his heart beat even faster. He smiled in response. Leaning forwards, he planted a soft kiss on her supple lips. The woman moaned into the kiss, parting her lips to suck on his bottom lip. But Naruto quickly broke the contact, smirking as she frowned in response. You seem quite eager, nay, my Grayfia dear. The now named Grayfia hummed softly before she pulled his head closer, their lips once more meeting in a soft yet passionate kiss. He could allow himself to enjoy this one moment of peace and happiness. The time was closing up. A looming darkness was nearing this world. It was only a matter of time before the first shadows would try to pry their way into this world. Although, a part of him feared that they might already made contact with some residents. Somewhere far away, in a desolate place in the underworld, a cold wind blew through the decayed halls of a long-since-forgotten castle, which was built inside the very root of the mountain. No one knew of this former castle, being one of the private refuges of the original Lucifer. No devil knew of its location anymore, except for one. A lone figure walked leisurely across the once proud and luxurious hallway to the throne, one of the very few pieces of furniture that still stood inside the castle. This brings back some memories. Never thought this place would be forgotten. Such a shame indeed. The cold voice of the man resounded across the deserted hall. He was a very tall individual, dressed in silver formal clothes that resembled the Satan's ones, his shoulders protected by well-crafted armor. The man had a handsome face, his shoulder-length silver hair and a matching goat beard completed his appearance. His golden-colored eyes landed on the throne. A single dark-colored sphere was embedded into the stone throne. A smirk graced his lips while he approached his destination, finally stopping in front of the throne. "This is where you wanted me to come, huh? I wonder." Carefully, the man's right hand slid over the smooth surface of the sphere. "What is it you truly want?" The moment the words left his lips, the sphere lightened up, illuminating the dark hallway in a purple-red light. The silver-haired man gritted his teeth, sweat poured down his face while his body shook uncontrollably. He could not take his hand off the sphere. He was not allowed to. His eyes widened when a powerful presence washed over him. Something he had never felt in his long-lived life, something that made even his power pale in comparison. A lone dark voice resounded inside his mind. A voice that filled him with despair and fear. "So you have come, little devil, you've heard the call of my voice, the call for immeasurable power and knowledge." The silver-haired man trashed violently, trying to tear his hand off to sever the connection, which grew stronger with each passing second. "Your world is bound to be burned down to the ground, ready to be consumed by our immense hunger and greed for power. Only chaos and death shall remain." A pained scream escaped the man's lips as his mind was slowly corrupted and deceived. "A portal needs to be opened to gain access to your world. I choose you to do so. Open a portal for my army and you will be rewarded with immeasurable power, beyond anything you've ever dreamed possible." His screams finally stopped to resound across the hallway. The man took a deep breath before a dark smile formed on his lips. "Do not fail me, be successful on the other hand, and I will grant you a place among my legion." "Why yes, my master, your wish shall be fulfilled." The sphere glowed one last time. The deceiver had made his first move. 2 days later, early in the morning, private chamber of Naruto's mansion. The first rays of sun slowly found their way inside the large bedroom, casting their light upon the two sleeping forms on the bed. Naruto frowned when he felt the annoying sunshine waking him up from his sleep. Groggily, the former Jinchuriki finally opened his eyes, mentally sending a small curse to the sun for disrupting one of his most peaceful sleeps since decades. Rubbing his eyes with his free right hand, he wiped the sleepiness off. Another day already. Naruto blinked once more before his senses came back to him, making him aware of the warm body pressed against his left side. A blissful smile sneaked upon his lips as the blond man turned his head to his left, taking in the sight of his lovely companion, Grayfia-chan. The woman had snuggled up to him, her head calmly resting on his shoulder, while he felt her warm, slow breath hitting the crook of his neck. Naruto's left arm pressed her harder against his side, making her sigh happily in her sleep. "Although with you by my side, all morning is worth waking up," he whispered softly, not wanting to wake his woman up just yet. He grinned when he caught sight of a small amount of drool, which escaped the corner of her mouth. She looked so adorable right now. Carefully, his free hand moved towards her face, gently rubbing her warm, smooth cheek before settling down to tug away the strands of hair that covered her forehead. Leaning down to press a soft kiss on her forehead, Naruto rested his own head on top of hers while gently running his hand through her long silver hair, gaining a pleasant moan from her. Her beautiful silver hair was still wet and disordered, making him smirk as he thought of last night. He always enjoyed making love to her, to hold her perfect body in his arms and to look deeply into her silver eyes, filled with such love and devotion for him, which always left him stunned. Grayfia was the most beautiful woman he knew, and even though it still pained to say so, she was even more beautiful than his deceased wife. His heart pained as he thought of her. Naruto quickly shook the memories off. That was his past life, and now, he had someone new to protect, someone new to love. He wouldn't lose her too, not as long as he still had the strength to fight. He would do anything to protect this world. Naruto frowned briefly, his eyes gaining a hard gleam while he thought of his next move to make. 2 gems were already in his possession, and he still needed to collect the remaining 7. The problem was that he didn't know how long they still had before the first demons would break through the thin layer of the dimensional gap. They wouldn't be that much of a threat to him. They would be weak by his means, but for the others, it would be already too much for them to handle. Most of this world's inhabitants would be corrupted by their foul power, by their mere presence alone. Still, that would be the least of his problems. He could fight them effortlessly, but the true problem lay within the stronger forces. Naruto knew that time was against them. The Legion needed a functional portal to access this world from the twisting nether. The countless different dimensions of the universe were very well protected by the dimensional barrier, but this defense was not perfect. They always seemed to manage to break through. They always found a way. That was his most brilliant and fearsome trait. Most of them were only mindless soldiers, but their leaders, they were on a whole different scale. The blond man bit his bottom lip. How many worlds had they destroyed till now? Maybe 1,000? Or more? He did not know how many of them had been destroyed because he managed to corrupt the populace. Even Naruto did not know if he would stand a chance against this twisting and cunning opponent. That being said, he needed to speed up his plan. He needed stronger allies on his side, allies who would be able to stand on equal grounds against the Legion. Sure, he had gained some valuable comrades during the last decades, but it was not enough to even stand a chance against them. The problem was mostly the weak minds of the mortal beings and not just their low power level. The former Jinchuriki sighed. And not only the mortal race, but the same could be said for the supernatural races of this world. Angels, devils, yokais, even the gods, they could easily be swayed to their side, they could be easily corrupted by their vile magic, turning even former allies against each other. He had seen it, he knew the danger. He spared a glance at his sleeping partner. Even his Grayfia could be targeted. Yes, she was strong, probably one of the strongest devils of this time, but that did not mean anything against this foe. She was still a devil, a being who could not control their emotions perfectly. Even though her personality showed otherwise, her desire due to her being a devil was her greatest weakness. The deceiver would make use of it, and Naruto knew that when he lost Grayfia to them, he would not be able to fight against her. That was one of their specialties. Turning former allies, family members, friends, lovers against the remaining few survivors. The blond man shuddered. The thought of fighting his corrupted Grayfia would break him. Naruto had seen it. He had seen how the Legion forced their will upon some of his closest friends. He would never forget the sight of Kakashi killing his own daughter. He could still see the horror and helplessness in Kakashi's eyes, even if his former sensei's emotions were deeply sealed inside his mind. The eyes, the door to one's soul, never lied. Even if the body was a mindless doll, they never took away one's emotions. They enjoyed watching how their new puppets would destroy and kill everything they once loved in their lives. Naruto would never forget the pain he felt as he killed his former sensei, and before he would kill his wife too, who cried over the fallen body of their daughter. He did not want Kakashi to feel the pain of killing his own wife too. It had been the least he could have done for Kakashi. May his soul rest in peace, free from the grasp of the Legion. A tired sigh escaped Naruto's lips, his hand never stopping to caress his lovely woman, who snuggled deeper into his form, enjoying the warmth he emitted. Even though I told Grayfia that there is hope, I fear that this world will suffer the same fate, the same destruction, the same pain. I am practically the only one who is truly capable of fighting them, and even though I am powerful, I cannot win this by myself. I need allies who can stand by my side, without being corrupted, allies who are completely loyal and devoted to me. Looking through the window to gaze at the rising sun, Naruto tried to find the answer. He did not know how long he looked outside. He did not react as Grayfia slowly started to wake up, burying her face in the crook of his neck, a happy sigh leaving her supple lips before she placed a gentle kiss on his skin. He narrowed his eyes. She needed to become like him and her. She needed to become something more, something even stronger than a devil. The question was, how would he make her like him? A few hours later, the city center of Ko, Japan. Naruto let out another sigh as he stood on the roof of a large apartment building. He had quite the sight of the city where he lived, but more so on the large building on the other side of the road. Ko Academy, if he recalled correctly. The blonde entity wondered why Grayfia wanted him to come here, but he complied in the end. He could not really deny her, more so since she gave him the order, a stern expression on her face, which meant she was more than serious, and so, he did not want to raise her ire. His Grayfia could be more than scary and cute at the same time, a deadly combination indeed. Naruto whistled a small tune while he waited for his companion to arrive, enjoying the sunshine on this hot, beautiful day and the strong wind, which swirled his spiky hair up. Loosening some buttons of his white shirt, exposing the upper part of his chest, he watched the students of the academy leaving for their homes. I should have taken my Bermuda shorts instead of my jeans, damn. Sometimes I hate this fucking heat. Bayo. Naruto quickly straightened himself, as he felt the incoming magic signature. A white magic circle appeared several feet behind him, and seconds later did Grayfia emerge from within the transportation circle. There you are. What took you so long? So I almost feel like on our dates when you take hours to two. Naruto interrupted his speech midways, having turned his head to look at his woman, an annoyed expression on his face before his eyes widened, his mouth widely opened, making him resemble a gaping fish. There stood Grayfia Lucifuge in her usual beauty and glory. That alone should not surprise him any longer, having seen her beauty countless times over, even though she still managed to make him stunned almost every time he saw her. Her royal silver hair was tied in two long bangs, which fell down her back while two shorter bangs framed her face, reaching past her shoulder blades. Her natural beauty did not really need to be perfected, though she still wore her dark red lipstick. It was more her current state of dress that made him stunned this time, a rather interesting outfit if he might add. The ultimate class devil was clothed in a purple dress with white vertical lines, the dress covering her arms and hand palms, leaving only her fingers visible, which were coated in blue nail lac, and going down to her shapely hips. A matching purple knee-length skirt covered her waist, although it was cut in the front to show her legs. To complete her outfit, Grayfia wore several dark gray armor plates. Her forearms were protected by thin armor, as well as her shins and feet, leaving her upper legs exposed while 2 long armor plates were bound to her waist, covering the sides of her legs. Chest armor protected her front, making the blonde man's sweat drop as he saw the curves, which contained her assets. All in all, she looked incredible, sexy and cute at the same time, truly a heavenly combination if you asked Naruto. I am sorry for the delay, Naruto-kun, but I wanted to try my new battle outfit out which I had personally requested. Grayfia's monotone but soft voice broke him out of his musings. I hope it is to your liking. The silver-haired beauty raised one of her delicate eyebrows as she saw the flat look and stupid expression on his face. Knowing to expect another stupid remark of her master and lover, though what to expect, she did not know. She watched her lover closing up on her with a blank expression. Even though her right eyebrow started to twitch as the blonde man did not lose his stupid look, he only gazed down at her, being almost half a head taller than her. After several seconds, Naruto finally broke from his intense stare, and before she could react, he had already grabbed the collar of her dress and pulled it away from her body, trying innocently to catch a glimpse of her covered bust. The noble and proud devil was completely stunned in disbelief at his bold behavior, and only watched her lover with widened eyes, the former Jinchuriki never stopping to look at her cleavage while his free hand scratched his chin, making it seem like he was in deep thought. Nay, Fie-chan? Isn't it a bit hot with all this armor? Damn, your breasts must be covered in sweat if I may guess. Hell, how did you even manage to pack the girls inside this chest plate in the first place? He never saw the dangerous twitch of her eyebrow. He never saw the fist coming either. Bonk. A second later we could find our hero laying face first on the ground, a huge smoking bump now adorning the back of his head. Not in public, Naruto. All she got in response was a weak twitch of his body. Huffing, Grayfia adjusted her chest plate once more, trying to forget the embarrassing scene with her lover. Although she could not get rid of the huge flush on her cheeks, her eyes closed and nose pointed high in the air to preserve what little dignity she had left. Oh ouch! After several seconds of pregnant silence, Naruto managed to rise to his knees, nursing his aching head in a desperate measure to lessen the pain. A small smile was however present on his lips. How he loved to mess with his lovely devil woman. He was the only one who actually managed to put her out of countenance, with her being mostly stern and impassive during everything, except when being on dates and during their passionate lovemaking. It was always worth it to rile her up, and even though she always scolded him afterwards, he knew that deep inside she enjoyed it. Seeing her standing away from him, with arms crossed underneath her breasts, and with an annoyed and cute expression on her face, he just knew she did. The silver-haired woman cast at him a dangerous glare, although the redness of her cheeks made it less than threatening. Oh yes, she definitely loved his antics. She was just too cute for her own good. Scratching his chin, he flashed her his best grin, which always seemed to manage to lessen her anger towards him whenever he had riled her up. Now that he recalled his previous encounters, his cheesy grin and smile always had quite the effect on the female populace. Although that time, he was truly too dense to notice that little detail. Grayfia had closed her eyes while she massaged the brink of her nose. She did not want to see his grin right now. She should scold him some more, but her partner always managed to escape her wrath somehow. Cheeky little bastard, baka, hee. After having calmed down, Grayfia walked towards the edge of the roof, closely followed by her lover, the two of them now looking down at Ko Academy. So do you want to tell me now what we want here? The silver-haired devil nodded, her face as usually deprived of emotions. Of course, Naruto-kun. Do you see that girl there? The man didn't answer immediately but followed her pointed finger to look at the person in question. He raised his eyebrows when he saw the crimson-haired young woman, who just walked out of the courtyard with some other students. Huh? The little devil princess? What of her? Isn't she irrelevant to our plans? That may have been true in the past. Oh, do explain please. Grayfia watched the little group of 4 moving down the road towards the city center. As you know, she is the heiress of the Gremory clan, one of the remaining prominent houses of the original 72 pillars. During my mission in Lilith to gain possession of the 3rd gem, I managed to gather some information concerning their clan, and, Naruto-kun, they have one of the gems in their possession. Now that managed to raise his attention, his eyes quickly daring back to look at the retreating forms of the devils. Are you sure about this? His voice had lost all playfulness. Grayfia knew that this was a serious matter for him. She knew how much he wanted to collect all the remaining jewels. Not just for his own sake, but for the whole world. Positive. Her lover remained silent for several seconds before he narrowed his eyes. Interesting indeed. That is some good news. After all, the location of the remaining 6 pieces are still unknown to us, despite our best efforts. He licked his lips. You did more than good, Grayfia-chan, although I presume that there is a catch, is there not? The silver-haired beauty nodded at her lover's assumption. True enough. The Gremory house is one of the wealthiest clans and is also considered to be the strongest of the remaining 34 pillars. They have many powerful members, and the current leader of the Yondai Mao, Lucifer Surzex, was the former heir of the clan. Due to their strength, they have quite the resort of magical power to protect their estate and treasures. It is highly likely that they sealed the gem in their possession into their private vault deep underneath the Gremory estate, protected by the most powerful and complex sealing magic known. Intruding into their estate, let alone trying to gain access to their vault will probably be impossible to achieve, at least if you are not blood related to the clan. Blood related, you say? Naruto looked deeply into Grayfia's silver eyes. You mean only a member of their household can lower the ceiling magic, which protects their vault? That may be a problem. This is just my assumption, Naruto-kun, but it is most likely the case the Gremory house is not careless either. They will know how to protect the stone, especially since the one in Crocus had already been stolen by us. They know that someone out there is collecting them. They won't allow foreigners to gain access to their treasure vault. I see. Grayfia gazed at her lover, who seemed deep in thought before she saw him narrowing his eyes once more. So only a member of their clan will be able to open the vault, huh? This is a problem indeed. Even if I am sure that I could simply crush the protective magic, but that would cause quite the ruckus, and I can't really allow myself to be known just yet. So what will our plan be? The former Jinchuriki sighed deeply, but before he answered her question, he wanted to know something else. Say, Grayfia, those 3 other devils with the Gremory girl were not part of her house, were they? The silver-haired beauty raised one of her delicate eyebrows at the question, but answered nonetheless. Not per se, they are indeed devils, her servants to be precise, reincarnated devils if I may guess. They are part of her peerage. Peerage? Grayfia sighed as she saw his confused look. Honestly, Naruto, try to pay a bit more attention to the small details. I told you quite a lot about my race, the peerage system included. Seeing him grin made her quite annoyed. Well, forgive me, dear, but I tend to lose my attention whenever you speak to me in your Gihi lovely maid outfit. You know that I then always have something else on my mind. Gihi. Another sigh escaped her lips. Pervert. You know you love it. Trying to ignore the rising flush on her cheeks, the woman licked her dry lips, trying her best to avoid his stupid cute grin. Back to the matter at hand. As I already told you once, the devil race had suffered great losses at the end of the Great War with the 2 other factions. Our lines had been thinned out, and there were not that many pure-blooded devil clans alive. We were near the point of extinction, since the normal birth rate of pure-blood devils is quite low, to be honest. We weren't able to repopulate the underworld quick enough to booster our ranks. Naruto only listened intently, desperately trying to ignore the up and down of her more than big bust. The chest armor did nothing to prevent the motions of her twin girls, though how that was even possible, hell, he did not know. So he just enjoyed it. It was shortly after the war that a young and powerful devil came up with an idea. Ajuka Astaroth, now known as Ajuka Beelzebub, one of the current Satans, created an ingenious set of 15 to 16 pieces. It was the creation of the evil pieces, special and powerful pieces, which were able to reincarnate other races into devils to increase our ranks. Evil pieces? Hi, a set of 16 chess pieces, which were given to the top-class devils in order to resurrect humans and other beings into their servants, making them part of their peerage. This new system allowed us devils to once more gain a significant number after the terrible losses suffered during the Great War. Naruto scratched his chin. These chess pieces allow a devil to reincarnate humans into devils? Interesting. Yes, although not just humans, but also yokais and some even say dragons. There is still much unknown regarding the evil pieces. It was also one of the reasons for the civil war between the old Satan faction and the younger devils. Many of the older generation saw it as an insult to resurrect inferior humans into devils. That could actually work in my favor. Seeing Grayfia's confused look made him smirk. Can you tell me more about these evil pieces? You wouldn't know to have such a set, would you? Seeing her lover's intense eyes on her form made the Lucifuge frown. It seemed this topic had gained more than just his interest. Unfortunately, there is nothing more I can explain to you, Naruto. Ajuka Beelzebub created the system, so only he knows the details regarding their creation. I am not even able to show you such a set of evil pieces because, even though I was still present when they were introduced, I had not gained the right to actually receive one. My house was only meant to serve the original Satan's clans, who were, as you should know now, against the very concept of the evil pieces. I am very sorry to disappoint, Master. The woman quickly bowed. Naruto could only sigh at her behavior, although he should have guessed that she would react this way. It took him years to make her see that he did not need a maid or a servant. No, what he needed was a true companion, someone he could trust blindly, someone he could count on. He needed a true friend. Humming softly, the blonde man gently grasped her chin and made her look at him. A small hint of pink sneaked upon her cheeks as she watched his gentle smile and caring eyes. I already told you Fia-chan never bowed to me. You know I hate formalities more than anything. Hell, I never respected them in the first place. I only need your heart and soul. I only need your love for me. Never forget that, Fia-chan. I want tea. Smiling, the silver-haired woman stepped closer to him before wrapping her arms around his neck. Naruto smiled as he lowered his head and met his lover in a soft kiss, in which he poured all of his feelings for her. Grayfia moaned as she felt his tongue gently nibbling at her lips, begging to get entry. The devil did not hesitate long and parted her supple lips, her own tongue quickly found by his before they lapped at each other. The passionate lip lock went on for several long seconds before the two lovers finally separated, a thin string of saliva still connecting their lips. Grayfia licked it off, a happy sigh escaping her red-coated lips before she leaned into her lover's embrace, trying to listen to his heartbeat. Naruto never stopped to caress her unarmored back, enjoying the warmth and closeness of his woman. He was truly grateful that he met her. He was glad that Mephisto had convinced him to visit the underworld that time, or he would not have met this woman in the first place, who slowly but steadily became his most precious person over the last decades. He owed Mephisto one. The blonde entity briefly kissed the top of her head. So Rias Gremory, huh? MMH? Naruto gave a weak smile. You probably want tea like this, Grayfia-chan, but I don't see any other way, at least with this. I'll be able to beat two birds with one stone and possibly gain a great influence in the underworld without anyone knowing. Grayfia raised her head to look at her man. Her eyes narrowed dangerously while a twitch formed on her right eyebrow. You do not plan to do what I think you will do you now, Naruto? He could only chuckle at her cute behavior. 2 hours later, shopping district of Ko, Japan. Another deep sigh escaped Ria's lips as she walked through the crowded street of Ko's market district. The evening came closer, and so most of the people now went to buy their groceries. The crimson-haired girl ignored the many looks she got from the citizens, men and women alike. She was used to them by now. The Gremory princess was currently dressed in her usual school uniform, consisting of a white long-sleeved, button-down shirt with a black ribbon on her shirt collar worn under a black shoulder cape and a matching button-down corset, a magenta skirt with white accents and brown dress shoes over white crew-length socks, showing off her long, flawless legs. The uniform did, however, nothing to hide her impressive chest, as many eyes fell on her two girls, making her sigh in resignation. Even though she did not really have a problem to show off her body, she still wanted people to see past her appearance, like her peerage did. However, it was quite difficult to find such persons. Most were too captivated by her beauty to have a real conversation with. Her mind drifted back to the small ice cream meeting she just had minutes ago with her peerage. It had been quite a hot day, and as such, they decided to move a bit into town, and not to go back to the old school building. Having a nice little trip with her cute little servants into town was something she had enjoyed greatly. Although the news of some fallen angels appearing in this city troubles me. During their bounding session, her queen and best friend had sensed the presence of 4 fallen angels coming closer to the city. They probably settled their base camp at the abandoned church, which lay at the outskirts of Ko. That made her think what they actually wanted here in the first place. But her gut feeling told her that it had something to do with her newest potential peerage member, Hayate Issei. Maybe they were monitoring his steps. It was a possibility, and so she sent one of her pieces out to look over the human, just in case he was truly their target. Being completely lost in her thoughts, Rias did not pay attention to her surroundings, having already left the most crowded streets. The moment she turned around the corner, she collided with a person. The crash sent the young woman to the ground, her by meeting the hard and unforgiving pavement. The devil Winston result, having not been prepared to collide with a person. Oh, sorry, miss, and no, it was my bad. Rias shook her head before she saw a hand in front of her. Smiling gratefully, she took the extended hand and allowed the stranger to lift her to her feet once again. I am terrible sorry, miss, I shouldn't have walked so quickly around the corner. No, it is all right, it was my own fault anyway. Rias blinked briefly before she got a first sight of the person with who she came to collide. The moment she caught a glimpse of his azure blue eyes, time seemed to stop for the crimson-haired princess. Her heart seemed to stop beating as she gazed at the young man in front of her, who could only be older than her by a few years. She could not look away from his beautiful shining eyes, sparkling with such joy and warmth she had never seen till now. His spiky, nearly golden hair moved in sync with the small breeze, 2 longer hair bangs framing his delicate, handsome face. Rias nearly squealed when she caught sight of the strange markings on his cheeks, almost like whisker marks, making him seem even cuter in her opinion. The young man was a head taller than her, so she needed to look up to him. She blushed a bit when she took in the rest of his body. Even though he wore a simple white and unbuttoned shirt, she could clearly see that he had quite a delicious frame, making it seem that he was well trained. She could not quite tear her gaze of him. He is so handsome, even more so than Kiba. Rias did not even notice when he started to speak. You know, I don't have something against a pretty lady such as yourself holding my hand, but you could let go of it now, nay? People might get the wrong idea, my dear. His voice snapped her out of her musings, her head snapping down to gaze at their joined hands. With a low gasp, she quickly let go of his warm and strong hand, a cute squeal escaping her lips while her blush intensified, almost to the point of the color of her hair. Rias averted her eyes when the man laughed, although it made her quite happy when she heard his voice. She did not know what happened to her. She had never felt like this before, especially not with the other gender. Why did she even blush? It was always her who made others blush, and not the other way around. Well, I am still sorry for bumping into you. Normally I used to know the people I bump into well, it's kinda my greeting. My friends are already used to it by now. His laugh made her smile, while her blush lessened. As I said, it was mostly my fault. I didn't look where I went. Well, what matters is that no one was hurt, nay. His infective smile helped to ease the tension between the two. Rias finally managed to look at him without her blush present on her face, her eyes following his movement as he crouched down to take the papers, which had fallen from his bag. Her eyes widened. Oh, I am so sorry, let me help. The young man only chuckled and waved her off, having already stored his belongings back into the bag. Ma, no need to panic, this happens all the time to me. I am used to it by now since I am a bit clumsy, you know, Databayo. He quickly stood up, bag slung over his left shoulder, his grin already in place. Rias could not help but giggle when she heard his slip. Cute, she felt like a little teenage girl right now. Oh wait, she was nervousness quickly washed over her when she felt his eyes on her form. Not knowing what to do with her hands, she simply folded them on her lap. May I get the name of this pretty lady? Rias Gremy. The stranger whistled happily. A beautiful name for a beautiful lady, didn't he expect anything less, Databayo? His statement made her blush increase tenfold. Get a hold of yourself, girl. She did not know why he managed to bring her this out of character. She did not act like this. This wasn't he like her. Well, I am Uzumaki Naruto, pleased to meet ya, my lady. Naruto, his name left a pleasant taste on her tongue. His warm, radiant smile and happy expression also helped her to feel special. She felt warm and secure. Rias was quite surprised, even pleased when she did not saw him staring at her chest like most men did. He simply continued to look her in the eyes as if he had just found the greatest treasure on earth. It made her quite happy and feel special if she was honest with herself. She tried to regain her composure, although his radiant smile made it quite difficult to do so. So are you maybe new here? You don't really look Japanese, if I may say. Naruto scratched the back of his head. Is it that obvious, huh? But you're right, I am from Europe, Luxembourg to be precise. I just recently moved to Japan. Don't know why I did, but I always liked the Japanese culture, you know. And I quickly found a working place here, in a nearby traveling agency. Not the most well-paid job, but it will do for now. I see. Rias didn't know what overcame her, but something in her heart hurt when she thought of them never meeting again. Before she could clearly think, the words had already left her lips. Naruto-san, as you are new here in Ko, so maybe you would like to have a guide? Maybe even tonight? We could go get something to eat, you know. Seeing him frown made her heart sink. Why did I say it like that? What will he think of me now? God, get a hold of yourself. Already asking a guy you just met out for a date? My, how forward of you. Her blush returned full force, her mouth opening and closing without actually bringing out a word, just some cute gasps. Naruto then grinned at her. I like girls who are forward, you know. Alright then. His answer made her stunned, which could be clearly seen on her pretty flushed face. What? The blonde man gave her thumbs up. You heard me, Rias, nay? Can't he really deny such a pretty lady's wish? Now can I? The Gremy princess swallowed the lump in her throat, her heartbeat increasing after his joyful answer. Alright, maybe we should meet in 2 hours then? At 8 o'clock right in front of Ko Academy, the tall building on the other side of the road? Chuckling, he scratched the back of his head, making it clear to Rias that it was one of his antics, although a cute one. Sweet. It's a date then, Rias. Till then, my lady. Rias' heart threatened to explode when he gently graped her left hand and kissed the back of her hand. She felt like a million volts just traveled through her very being as she felt his soft lips on her smooth skin, his warm breath tickling her. Her face now matched her hair color. She, heiress to the most prominent house in the underworld, reduced to a stammering little girl, she could never let her Oni-sama know about this. To her ire, the kiss only lasted a second before he backed off and set her hand free. Giving her a playful wink, Naruto then walked past her, leaving her alone with her blushing thoughts. I have a date. My first date. She didn't know how long she stood there, frozen to the spot. She did not care. Rias never saw the somewhat dark smirk on Naruto's lips as he walked away from her. Hook, line and sinker. 2.5 hours later, Main Street of Ko, Japan. Rias sighed happily as she watched her date with half-lidded eyes, the two of them having been seated in one of her most favorite restaurants here in Ko. Normally, she preferred her queen-ass dishes, but still, the food here was more than to her liking. She smiled as she watched the young man eyeing the menu cart, a thoughtful look plastered on his face. She found it quite funny that he seemed so serious about the food he wanted, a cute giggle escaping her lips whenever he moaned about the lack of ramen dishes. The overly dramatic sulking expression made it quite difficult not just to outright laugh at him. Rias was more than pleased with her first date so far. To be honest, she had been really nervous when they had parted ways hours ago. And why should she not be? It would be her first date. She did not really know what to expect, even though she had often dreamed about the first date she would have with a boy she liked. On one hand, the crimson-haired beauty was quite glad that her best friend had not been there at her clubhouse. Akino would have chuckled at her nervous state, seeing her normally strong-willed and decisive king so girly. Her queen surely would not let that come to rest. After what felt like several long hours, she had finally managed to choose a dress to wear for the night to come. A simple yet elegant yellow-colored and sleeveless dress, which showed quite a bit of her well-endowed chest and her creamy long legs. Being quite pleased with her state of dress, she chose to apply some light red lipstick and matching nail lac. Normally she was not one to apply makeup, but she could make an exception just this once. At least her hair was perfect in her opinion, so she did not need to do something about it. Some part of her heart really wanted this to go perfect, and when she finally met her date outside of Ko Academy, Rias was quite pleased with what she saw. Naruto had chosen to wear black pants and matching shoes, with a light blue shirt, which brought out the color of his beautiful eyes, his hair still spiky as she remembered it to be. She could not contain her joy when she saw the widening of his eyes as he gazed at her frame. Seeing the look of awe and admiration in his gorgeous eyes made her heart swell with joy. And when he finally found his voice again, her breathing stopped when he gave her his most radiant smile, telling her how beautiful she looked. It made her knees go weak. A lovely flush sneaked upon her cheeks as he extended his arm for her to grab. Rias just knew that this night would be perfect. The young woman had quickly shown him the center city, guiding him through the crowded streets, all the while looking at some shops that had still open, making him chuckle in amusement. Rias smiled wider when he did not seem to mind much. Deciding to grab something to eat, she brought him to her favorite restaurant, hoping to enjoy a romantic dinner with the blonde-haired man. Even though he was quite clumsy like he told her, nearly tripping over his own feet and much everything that laid in their way whenever he told her a funny joke, she was surprised that he actually had manners despite his lack of respect for pretty much everything, and she enjoyed it very much. She could not help but giggle whenever he told her one of his pranks. Rias quickly learned that the blonde man was a true prankster by heart. She could not believe all the things he managed to do to his friends and acquaintances. You should have seen their faces the moment they saw their pink-colored boxer shorts hanging outside the schoolyard. Ah yes, the stupid look on their faces was already worth it. But when they realized that I was making pictures of them, all the basketball team quickly chased me while I made them chase me all over the school ground. Damn, they didn't even notice they were butt naked till the girls started to scream, "Aw man." Even though I got detention for the whole affair, it was totally worth it, you know, Rias. Rias brought her hand up to cover her giggle, her mind trying to picture the whole incident. I bet they never forgot the humiliation, didn't they? Nope, Naruto scratched the back of his head. At the end of the school year, I even managed to sneak the pictures I took of them into the yearbook. Oh, the look on the teachers' and students' faces was priceless, Databale. I can imagine that. Leaning her head on her left-hand palm, Rias greatly enjoyed the time with her date. He always managed to bring her to laugh. He was truly a funny and unique person. She was truly glad to have bumped into him. The date till now had been more than perfect in her opinion. She learned quite a bit about the young man, his life back in Europe, although it did pain her that he was an orphan, having lost his parents early in his youth. Still, he seemed so cheerful and never let those painful memories get the better of him. She wondered if she could still be such a carefree and cheerful person if she would lose her family. Probably not. Rias was brought out of her musings when she felt a strong hand on top of her own. Her cheeks immediately gained a rosy pink as she saw his intense stare, his gorgeous eyes seemingly trying to pry their way into her very soul. She felt so exposed to his strong gaze, and yet she did not dislike the feeling he caused inside her. Was this how her Oni-sama had felt on his first date? She could only imagine. You've been quiet for some time now. I really hope I haven't bored you with my stories, nay? I know not everyone seems to like them, though I wonder why. His clueless gaze made her smile. Quite the contrary, Naruto. I loved every single one of your, well, let us say adventures. You've sure had an interesting past, huh? You bet I had. Another happy sigh escaped her lips. This was something she had always wanted, to be seen as a normal teenage girl, to be treated like a normal young woman, and Naruto always managed to make her feel so special. To know that he only had eyes for her this night, to believe a simple human could make her so happy. You know, Naruto, I enjoyed this little date very much. Normally, I am not really used to this. Most people just want to get closer to me due to my family, so it's rare to see someone actually trying to get to know me, the real me. It's nice, you know? You are in fact the first to ever try to make me feel like a normal woman without any ulterior motives. You don't have any ulterior motives, do you now, Naruto? Her playful voice made him chuckle. Well, to be honest, I do kinda have some ulterior motives, maybe even getting a second date with your lovely self. Naruto gave a small grin as he heard her giggle. I must be truly lucky to have met you this day, not even 1 week here in Japan, and I already caught the eyes of the most beautiful woman in town. I must be really awesome. Nay, you are special. Special, huh? That means a lot coming from such a lovely lady. Rias only fluttered her lashes at him. You flatterer. Well, it's not flattery if it's simply the truth, is it not? I haven't quite met someone like you. I think you are far more special than me, Rias-chan. The crimson-haired girl flushed as she heard him call her with such an endearing suffix. It made her heart beat even faster in her chest. What are you doing to me, Naruto? The young man gazed at her reddened face. So may I presume that this lovely lady is actually a princess? A princess who escaped the clutches of her strict family to live a normal life, maybe even finding her special someone. Rias just smiled even wider. Maybe inwardly, she sweat dropped at how close he truly was to the truth. Maybe I am a princess, a lonely princess who only wants to find someone who can see past her stature and beauty. Is that so? His amused grin made her heart flutter. Well, I can't say anything about the Princess Rias, but I do like the Rias who sits here in front of me. The female devil blushed heavily as she felt him caressing her hand, his thumb all the way brushing over her knuckles. The skin contact made thousands of sparkles spread across her body. She could not quite pinpoint why she felt so smitten with this young man, who she had only met a few hours ago, but she felt so good right now. How could a human make her feel so special? She did not understand, but she sure as hell did not complain. Swallowing the lump in her throat, she tried to regain her composure, though it was quite difficult to bring her heart beating under control. I am glad. I enjoy this very much, Naruto-kun, so maybe you could tell me something more about you. Maybe even another one of your funny stories? Naruto only chuckled and pointed his nose high in the air. Of course I have much more. I am just that awesome Rias-chan, Databeo. The blonde-haired man boosted confidently, making his date giggle in result. He was just such an interesting and funny person. The two of them enjoyed the rest of their dinner before Rias guided him to the cinema, wanting to see one of the newer animes that just shortly came out. Naruto quickly noticed that the young woman was a true fan of this entertaining branch while everyone had their preferences, so who was he to pry? After the film, both went down to the harbor, settling down to walk along the beach. Night had fallen by now and they could clearly see the countless stars adorning the cloudless sky. Naruto even dared to hold her hand, which in turn had made her smile in content before she leaned against his side, resting her head against his shoulder. The two enjoyed the end of their date, walking leisurely in content silence to enjoy the peace and quiet of the night. A dreamy sigh could be heard from his date, making Naruto turn his head to gaze down at the crimson-haired woman. Rias had a satisfied expression on her pretty face. This had truly been one of the best days she had had till now. Everything had gone so well, just like in her dreams. It had been a perfect date in her opinion, and she was even more overjoyed when he asked her for another one. She could not wait to continue this little interactions with the young man, who she came to have a strong liking to. It did not even matter to her that he was a simple human. She would cross that bridge when the time was right. Coming to a stop on the promenade, she separated herself from his body and stood in front of him, tacking his hands in hers. It has been really fun, Naruto-kun. Indeed it was, Databeo. Rias giggled at his little antic, already being used to it. So about that second date. Well, we still have the first one to finish, you know. The female devil bit her bottom lip before gathering her courage. She slowly leaned forwards, standing on her tiptoes to close the gap between the two. Naruto was quite amused when she saw her nervousness, although it may very well be the first kiss she would share with someone, so it was understandable. He smirked. Rias slowly inched forwards, her half-lidded eyes only seeing his azure eyes before he leaned downwards, meeting her halfway. In less than a second, their lips would meet. She could already feel his warm breath on her lips. She could practically taste his lips on hers. Naruto's smirk grew darker. Rias only felt a strong, strange pulsation running through her body, and the last thing she saw was his smirk before her sight grew dark and she drifted into unconsciousness. 2 days later, Naruto's mansion, outskirts of Ko, Japan. Grayfia Lucifuge sighed lowly as she prepared dinner for herself and her lover, the delicious smell of yakitori and steamed vegetables already filling the spacious kitchen. Normally, her man would always help her with the preparations, but since his date with that grimy girl, he had nearly shut himself in his study room, deep underneath the mansion. She did not know what exactly he was currently trying to achieve, but she knew it had to be important to him. Yet that did not mean she liked it though, as he had not spent much time with her these 2 last days. But Grayfia did not voice her concern for him, knowing that when her lover had something in his mind, he would stubbornly finish it. His stubbornness was truly, well, let us just say interesting to say the least. That being said, the ultimate class devil had not quite liked the fact that he had had this supposed date with that crimson-haired princess. Naruto had teased her afterwards that she was jealous. Why, yes, of course she was. Why should she not be? He was hers and no one else, just as she was his and his alone. Of course, as his loyal companion and friend, she had followed them on their date. That word still left a bitter taste in her mouth. She was quite displeased when she saw the two of them being so cheerful and chubby with each other. She had nearly frozen the harbor district when she saw that grimy girl trying to kiss her man, but to her relief, Naruto had acted according to his plan and disabled her before anything bad happened. Although, the silver-haired devil still did not know what the former Jinchuriki had done afterwards. He only told her that he gained the information he wanted to. Well, in due time would he tell her, he always did. Still, Grayfia did not like the fact that he needed to keep in contact with the crimson-haired girl. She knew that it would gain them quite the influence if Naruto managed to bind the younger devil to his person. It already seemed that she had taken quite the strong liking to him. And with the memory altering he did on her, Rias would think that their date had ended in a perfect way, a romantic kiss underneath the starlit sky before separating with the promise of another date. Even if nothing had happened, she still gritted her teeth when she thought about it. It did not take long for her to finish dinner, and just as she wanted to call him, her sensing abilities caught a second power source, which had directly appeared inside her lover's study room, seemingly out of nowhere. Grayfia frowned as she remembered the power signature. It seemed she would have to delay their dinner. She just hoped they did not start a fight, or else even the seals around their home would not be able to withstand the force. In the meantime, inside Naruto's private study room, several feet underneath the earth's surface, it was dark inside the large room. Only a few candles casted some light across the sealed-off room. One could see many desks with strange devices on top of them, as well as countless paper sheets, written in an uncommon language and with even stranger signs. The sides of the room were occupied by several bookshelves, countless books and scrolls stored neatly inside. The poor light gave sight to a blonde-haired man, dressed in a simple blue kimono. He stood in the middle of the spacious chamber, or more like he floated several inches above the floor in a meditative pose, legs crossed and having his eyes closed. He did not move even a single inch. Right in front of his face, a golden white light shined, enclosing several small pieces. A drop of sweat ran down his forehead, while he concentrated his power into the objects. Only a second later did Naruto open his eyes. A low and tired sigh escaped his lips while the light slowly died out, making the pieces fall to the ground. Of all the times, Naruto did not even react as a small portal manifested behind his back, having already felt the signature approaching. Slowly, the portal opened and a person stepped through before the rift closed again. So what do you want here? I am kind of busy right now, Office. The blonde-haired entity slightly turned his head to spare a glance at the newcomer, though his eyes widened for a bit. This is new, growing tired of your old appearance, huh? Although I do not know if this one is truly better. The now named Office did not react to his gaze, not that he expected an actual response from him, or now rather her. He truly hated genderless beings. At least, they should stick to one gender if you asked him. But sadly, no one asked him. Naruto raised one of his eyebrows as he got a good look at her. You have no shame, huh? His remark was not unfounded. Office had really a strange taste. Last time he checked, Office had taken the shape of a middle-aged man, but now she seemed to have taken a liking to the female gender. Not a bad choice per se, but why did she choose to take the form of a little child? Oh well, he had long since given up to understand him. Her Office did not look older than 12 years, her little body probably would not even reach his upper chest. Her long black hair nearly reached her feet, while her gray eyes locked eyes with him. No emotion could be seen in them, just as he suspected. Her ears were still pointed, just like in her former male form. Well, Naruto could at least try to understand why she took a child's form. But why in the name of hell and heaven did she wear a fucking gothic Lolita dress? A child like her, all right, she was not a real child, but still her clothing was far too revealing for his taste. However, if he could convince Grayfia to wear such a dress during their fun time, oh yes, that would definitely make his time. Office wore white shorts tied with pink ribbons. Her black dress covered only her shoulders, back and arms, while the front of her frame was nude. Well, at least she had some black strips which covered the of her practically non-existent chest. To complete her weird outfit, the girl had a pink fly wrapped around her neck and she decided to go barefoot. Letting out a tired sigh, Naruto rose to his feet before he stretched his back. So what does this little dragon god want of old little me? It might be hard to believe, but this little Lolita was in fact one of the strongest beings, precisely the second strongest being of this world. A true dragon god, the infinite dragon god. Some even call her the Ouroboros dragon, mostly due to her usage of snakes. Oh, how he hated snakes brought back some bad memories. Though not really bad memories of a certain snake mistress, he still shuddered thinking of her. Most would crumble in fear or praise her. They referred to her as strongest being. But for Naruto, she was a giant pain in the ass, and she always managed to visit him in the most inappropriate moments. It was one of her bad habits. Once, she had visited him during his and Grayfia's bedtime activity. He nearly destroyed his home that night just to get her out. And the worst of all, she did not learn of her mistakes. So little Chibi? What do you want, and make it quick please? The black-haired dragon did not lose her blank stare, nor did her low and emotionless voice betray her thoughts. I am growing tired. Naruto stopped to stretch his back. He narrowed his eyes. What did you just say? I am growing tired of waiting. I want my home back now. Office may not exactly know how to read emotions, but even she could feel the tension in the room increasing. She watched with blank eyes as the blonde entity came closer. Is that so? His voice was low and colder than the breezing wind. This little dragon wants her home back, and you would do so even against my orders, would you not? The Ouroboros dragon now grew a bit nervous as the former Jinchuriki stopped only inches in front of her, glaring coldly down at her petite form. You would purposely disobey my orders just for your selfish needs, huh? I thought you were more intelligent than this Office. I allowed that red lizard for far too long to reside in my space. I do not see the point of leaving him alone any longer. I want him. Office's eyes widened as his hand lurched forwards to strangle her neck, forcing her to look up at him. She bit her bottom lip. Maybe she should have told him her plea with a bit more tact. Now listen, and listen very closely, you little dragon. I don't give a damn about your ambition, your grudge against him, but I do not tolerate insubordination. From none of my allies. You are no exception, Office. I've told you to stay away from him. I already did 50 years ago when you first came to me to gain my assistance. The infinite dragon god was keen on unleashing her own power to stand up against him. But deep down she already knew how it would end. Since their first meeting when he told her down, she had seen it. A power she would never forget. She could not risk gaining his ire. She was powerful, but not that much, although she was quite relieved when Naruto stopped his vice grip on her neck. The blonde man simply started to caress her left cheek, his eyes never leaving hers. Office, you are so naive for such a strong entity. It is disappointing if you asked me, because I expected so much more from you. Nay? You truly are a child sometimes. Naruto narrowed his eyes at her little frame. Did you choose this form to make me see it your way? You should know, Office, that I don't care if you are male or female, nor if you have the appearance of a child. If you stand in my way, nothing can save you from my wrath. You should have known that by now, Office. His voice was mocking and made her bit her lips. You've gotten quite stubborn these last few years, Office, so I wonder why? Is this truly only about Great Red? Highly unlikely. Even you can be so narrow-minded. Do you hate him so much? Do you despise him for taking what you consider yours? Baccared has taken my home as his. The dimensional gap is mine and no one else. Even if she started to get furious, Naruto smirked as her voice still showed no emotion. I want that overgrown lizard out of my realm. Do you now? Then I am very sorry to say that the task I gave Red is far from over, little Office. And do you want to know why I did not trust you with it? Of course you do, so let me enlighten you. Great Red is not only far more powerful than you are, but also, he is easy to reason with. Unlike you, he can protect the dimensional gap far better than you, so at least this way, I only have to look out for the threats that may intrude over the dimensional barrier surrounding the world. Red can take care of the small flies that travel across the 3 worlds. I could have taken care of it myself. Ho? His eyebrow rose in amusement. Of that I wouldn't be so sure, Office-chan. Others may consider your power immeasurable, but for some others, it is nothing but a drop in the ocean. Remember that, Office. There are many stronger beings out there than you. That does not mean anything to me. Stubborn indeed, huh? I wonder, since how long have you tried to disobey me? When you started that little group of yours, your own little army against Red and maybe my humble person? He chuckled as he saw Office's eyes widening. How you ask? Stupid dragon, you should know that nothing in this world escapes my grasp and eyes. Absolutely nothing. I have not done anything about your pets because I may have use for them in the future, so that way, you can at least fulfill one duty. Office remained silent. Nothing to say anymore? Naruto's gentle caressing of her cheek made her flush a bit, but she still kept her stoic expression. She did not want to show any weakness in front of this being. Little Office-chan, I truly hope you start to learn your lesson. Nothing good comes out in challenging me. You still remember our last disagreement, do you not? You know what happens should we clash once more, do you? Naruto's voice became dangerous, but it was not his voice that kept her frozen to the spot. No, it were his eyes. Eyes that only belonged to him. Eyes that even managed to bring fear to her heart. She could never forget those purple eyes with ripple-like markings. Even she could feel the power these eyes hold. His low voice broke her out of her stupor. You should start to behave, or I will show you that even a dragon god can be killed. Her eyes widened in fear as she felt a pull on her soul, making Naruto smirk darkly. Ah yes, now you remember why you fear me, do you not? Yet you have luck on your side, as I am currently in a good mood and I still need you in the future. But never forget you should know your place, Office. The moment he pulled his hand off her cheek, the ominous feeling on her soul ended. The infinite dragon god breathed heavily after the unpleasant sensation. She definitely was not used to such skin contact and a near-death experience. Giving him one last glance, the black-haired entity vanished, not wanting to be in his presence any longer. Naruto sighed as the annoying Lolita finally left his study room, letting once more silence reign over. Shaking his head, the former Jinchuriki walked back to his former position. Office is slowly becoming a liability, MMH. If she continues with her path to challenge Great Red, that may very well be an opening they would make use of. Well, for the time being she is still of us to me, and maybe I let her in the belief that she has the loyalty of some of her followers. His eyes fell upon the pieces lying on the floor. The process is nearly finished. Getting in a meditative position, he concentrated once more on his task. Should Office still not understand, I will have to dispose of her. 3 hours later, living room of Naruto's mansion. We could see Naruto walking with a satisfied smile present on his face through the corridor, having left his personal study room just moments ago. His smile was justified. He may have just found a way to gain completely loyal servants, powerful ones at that. Moments later did the man walk into the comfy living room of his mansion, this room alone being nearly as big as a regular house. His smile grew softer when he saw his Grayfia, dressed in her white bathrobe, sitting on one of the many couches, the shine of the cracking fire in the chimney illuminating her beautiful frame. Night had already fallen over the mansion. He wondered how long he had been inside his study chamber. The silver-haired beauty was currently reading one of her favorite book, but the moment he stepped into the room, she instantly turned her head in his direction. Even though her face remained stoic, Naruto had known her long enough to see that she was happy that he finally came out of his room. The former Jinchuriki sighed while he sat down next to her. The book's good? The female devil sighed softly before a small smile graced her delicate features. Dante beat around the bush, my love, what is it? Grayfia laid the book on the stand, her eyes gazing expectantly at her lover while she leaned into his side. Have you finished what you wanted? I have. He embraced her, bringing her body closer. Sorry, it seems I've missed dinner, huh? Grayfia hummed softly. I left some in the fridge for you. Naruto chuckled gratefully. Era, I am so glad you look out for me. He heard his lovely lady sighing. You should be. Without me you would live in a mess, Naruto-kun. How true, how true. They remained silent for several minutes, both just enjoying being in each other's presence. The silver-haired beauty had leaned her head on his shoulder, having closed her eyes to enjoy his warmth. Yet she chose to break the pleasant silence. I hope he didn't annoy you too much, she heard him sigh. Better you don't know Fi-chan, and it's not he anymore, but she office can really be difficult to handle. But enough of her, I am already getting a headache just thinking of her. He felt his lady shifting in his embrace before a petite hand graped his chin and turned his head to the side. Naruto immediately forgot all his worries as he gazed at the silver eyes of his female devil, her face still stern, but he could clearly see the love in her eyes. It made his heart flutter just looking at her. Alright, I will not ask about office, but you will answer what you did to that Gremry girl Naruto. Does it bother you? Her flat look was already answer enough. Alright, sheesh. Nothing much happened, Grayfia-chan. You should know that. You stalked me after all, he chuckled at her reddening cheeks. It was quite easy to influence her. Hell, I didn't even need to alter her memories for making her like me. Seems my old personality is still quite successful for gaining a woman's attention. Nay, Grayfia rolled her eyes as she saw his smug look. Though I must say, I did kinda enjoy the date. She's not that bad. Kinda expected a really spoiled princess, and not such a shy but still quite playful young woman. He swallowed nervously when Grayfia's grip became a tad too strong. He could already feel a cold shiver running down his spine. Relax, Fi-chan. It was just an innocent date. No feelings whatsoever. You know that I love you more than anything else, don't you? I would be lost without you. Hearing the soft voice of her lover, the silver-haired devil slowly softened her hug before a sad expression appeared on her face, making the blonde man raise an eyebrow. You had blue eyes, they were beautiful. Naruto became surprised when he heard her hesitant low voice. Grayfia-chan, you never showed them to me. The former Jinchuriki's eyes softened before he leaned towards her, planting a soft kiss on her lips. He broke the contact after less than a second to gaze lovingly at her. Fi-chan, I am sorry I didn't know that this would make you sad. I mean, it's just part of my old life now and this here is my new life. I just wanted to forget some parts of it, can you understand? I didn't know it would mean this much to you, but I thought that my new appearance, my dojutsu and the scars I got wouldn't exactly make a good first impression on the girl, and I need her for the future. Having her as a loyal follower would give us some great opportunities, Grayfia. All I can say now is that I am sorry, my love. It's just my old life, but you are my new one, so please don't be sad. Grayfia gave a weak smile. Stupid, her lover only chuckled. Of course I am, that's one of the reasons you love me, don't you? Kissing him, the silver-haired beauty touched his forehead with hers, her silver eyes never leaving his. To be honest, she loved the eyes he had since coming to her world just as much. I love you, Naruto-kun. I love you more, my dear. Humming softly, she leaned forwards and captured his lips in another searing kiss, this one being far more passionate and aggressive. Naruto let out a happy sigh, which was being muffled by Grayfia's eager mouth. Hugging her closer to his chest, his hands then roamed over her sides and back. The two lovers were so engrossed in their lip lock that they forgot everything around them. Naruto's hand already moved to entangle her bathrobe before he remembered his successful creation. Much to Grayfia's disappointment, her lover broke the wet kiss with her. Before you make me forget again, Fi-chan, I need to show you something. Raising one of her delicate eyebrows, Grayfia licked the small string of saliva away that still connected their lips. What is it then? You told me about this peerage system. Seeing her nod, he continued. Another reason for my date with that Gremry girl was to gain the information I needed. I needed to see the evil pieces for myself, Grayfia. They intrigued me the first time you mentioned them. They are fascinating to say the least, and it may very well give us a chance against the Legion. It does? But I don't see how, Naruto-kun? Her voice betrayed her confusion. Naruto gave her a mysterious smile. High-class devils are able to reincarnate nearly every race into their own species by using these evil pieces. This made me think the very idea of a peerage would be beneficial for our plans. So you plan on resurrecting possible allies into devils? Shaking his head, his tone quickly became serious. Not into devils, Grayfia-chan. Huh! Naruto smiled wider before he extended his left hand, which was enveloped in a golden light. Seconds later, the bright light died out and Grayfia's eyes widened as she caught sight of a single piece laying on his hand palm. Naruto-kun, is that an evil piece? Not per se. Naruto brought the single piece closer. This, my dear, is not an evil piece. So yes, it is not one of Ria's pieces. I just needed to analyze her set to create my own. You did what? The blonde entity chuckled at her astonished expression. This is what I was doing these last days. With an actual evil piece set that I analyzed from that little devil, I was able to create my own, though I wouldn't call it evil pieces anymore. These pieces wouldn't turn my chosen ones into devils that wouldn't do me any good. No, Grayfia, with these, I can turn anyone into a version of my race. Grayfia's eyes widened. That shouldn't be possible. Ha! Her lover only grinned smugly. Nothing is impossible for the awesomest that is Uzumaki Naruto, Databeo. Only a second later did he yelp out in pain as his right cheek was roughly pinched by his silver-haired lover, who had quite the annoyed expression on her pretty face. Focus, Naruto. Why yes dear, the blonde man sighed in relief when his cheek was released, though it still stung a bit. He puffed his cheeks. Yuri no fun, Fi-chan. Someone needs to be the reasonable among us, and Naruto, It surely is not you. Now back to the topic, Naruto-kun, she heard him sigh. Well, as I was saying, I managed to create this new set using my Banbutsu Sozo. Your creation of all things ability? Yes. As you know, Grayfia, my eyes grant me many abilities. The Banbutsu Sozo is only one of many, but its mastery is nearly impossible. Even after near 200 years I still haven't mastered it. I still cannot create living beings out of nothing. Grayfia closed her eyes, a thoughtful frown adorning her face. That shouldn't be possible in the first place, Hinata. Your powers far exceed everything in this world. There is no other entity who can create something or someone out of pure imagination, well, at least not anymore. Naruto only scoffed. I am a completely different case. I don't use magic like most races in this world do. I use chakra, Grayfia, the combination of physical energy that is present in every cell of my body and spiritual energy, which is gained from the mind. The yokais in this world can use something similar, though it is a weaker form of chakra like we used it on back my home world. I am not bound to the limits of magic. My yin-yang release allows me to use yin release in combination with yang release. His lover only sighed. Understanding the basics of your power is not always easy, Naruto-kun. I know, babe. I know. He had the single piece in his palm. Every shinobi in my home world could use yin-yang release to mold chakra, using it for ninjutsu or genjutsu, even going so far to strengthen one's body by using chakra. But after I awoke in this world, my mastery over it became even stronger than it used to be. These eyes I gained allowed me complete control over my chakra. His eyes gained a serious gleam. I am no longer bound to the limits of ninjutsu. I've nearly reached the level of my predecessor in terms of yin-yang release, and as such, it was quite easy to create this with my yin release. My imagination created these pieces out of nothing, and because they are not living beings, at least not completely, my yang release breathed life into them. Grayfia grew a confused look. You just said that your mastery over yang release isn't perfect yet. I thought you couldn't create living beings? I used parts of my own soul to make them alive. Naruto gulped as he saw the woman's features shifting into a scowl, which he still found quite cute. Not that he would say that loud, or she would, well, let's just say it would not be pleasant. Grayfia's eyebrows twitched dangerously. You are far too reckless for your own good. I'm sorry, just get on with it. Right? His eyes became serious before he broke off from Grayfia's hug. The woman just looked questionably at him. Grayfia, I want you to become part of a new organization I plan to create, with the sole purpose of protecting this world from the Legion. Acting as an unseen protector, I want you to become my second in command. The silver-haired devil widened her eyes as her lover got on his knees in front of her, holding the single piece in between his fingers. She allowed herself a closer look. All in all, it seemed like a regular queen chess piece, not different from the ones her kin used to reincarnate humans and other races. Although, the color was different. While evil pieces were a deep red, this one was pure white, although she could see a thin layer of purple surrounding it. Her eyes then shifted over to Naruto, who seemed quite serious. Grayfia, will you become my one and only queen? Her heart seemed to stop beating as she saw the pleading but determined look on his face. You want me to become your queen? Why? Her blonde man gave a small smile. Do you even need to ask, my dear? You know very well that I only trust one person, and that person is you, my love. You are the only reason why I have not lost myself. You were there for me when no one else was. You believed in me, you gave me back something I thought I had lost a long time ago. I am no one without you, Fia-chan, and I want to know that you stand by my side for all eternity. Naruto, I know that it is a lot to take in right now, Fia-chan. She brought her delicate hands right on top of his, closing the chess piece in between their hands. Naruto-kun, what will happen to me when I agree? Placing a chaste kiss on her hands, he gazed deeply into her eyes. You will become far stronger than you could have ever imagined. You won't be a devil any longer, Grayfia-chan. You will become something more. Something far more powerful and pure. Will I lose my current powers? No, you won't, my love. I specifically created this set to allow my future pieces to keep their own powers, so you can still use your wonderful ice magic. Only it will become more powerful, and as you will ascend to my level, the weaknesses of devils will not affect you any longer. I see. Grayfia bit her bottom lip. Will I be your only queen? Her lover looked surprised for a moment before he chuckled. Of course you would, Fia-chan, my only one. I can tell you that I only created this one single queen piece. It is only meant for you, no one else but you. His words made her smile, a beautiful smile which suited her. He truly loved it whenever she gave him such a smile. It made him feel special to bring out this side of her. She rarely showed it. I need you more than anything else, Grayfia. This queen piece will make you mine. You will become like me, Grayfia. This isn't just a piece to make you into one of my race. I used my own soul, my own heart on creating this piece. You know what that means. The silver-haired beauty gasped softly, her right hand not quick enough to muffle the sound. Naruto could see the first signs of tears welling in the corner of her eyes. Her shaky voice made him smile. This, are you as serious? I am. His eyes glowed with determination. This is my proposal to you, my love. If you accept to become my queen, we will be bound together for all eternity. Nothing will tear us apart, so I ask you, Grayfia-chan, will you become mine? Tears were slowly trickling down her cheeks as she digested the words of the man she came to love over the last century. How long had she awaited to hear those words from him she did not know anymore, and she did not care. What mattered was that he finally accepted her in his life, ready to leave his past behind. Naruto only gazed at the woman as she slowly sank to her knees in front of him before clasping his hands in hers. Yes, he nearly missed her gentle low voice. His smile widened in joy when he heard her answer. Grayfia leaned forwards and kissed him gently on the lips before breaking the lip lock a few seconds later. I am all yours, Anata. I was yours all this time. Naruto smiled. I know, babe. Humming softly while her forehead leaned against his, Grayfia licked her lips. You intend to do the process now? Yes, hold on. Both lovers vanished in a golden flash to reappear inside Naruto's study room. This room was even more protected by his seals than the mansion, and would considerably lessen the power input that will surely arise during the reincarnation. Grayfia groaned while massaging her temple. She never got used to his Hiraishin no jutsu. The stain on her body was always too great, and made her feel weak afterwards. Let us begin, Grayfia. The silver-haired devil nodded before rising to her feet, now standing in the middle of the room, expectantly looking at her blonde man who stood a few inches in front of her, the queen piece now floating in front of her chest. I don't know if you will feel pain, Fih-chan, but please bear with it. It will be worth it in the end. The woman gave a short nod, her eyes gazing at the small piece. Naruto took a deep breath before he flicked his fingers. The glowing piece instantly shot into Grayfia's chest, making her gasp as it molded with her very body and soul. Nothing seemed to happen for several seconds. Naruto narrowed his eyes as he felt a power rise inside the silver-haired beauty. Her body suddenly started to glow in a silver light, which quickly expanded. The former Jinchuriki shielded his eyes as the power source continuously grew in density. His eyes widened when the room started to shake and become cracks. Wonderful! Even the Fuin's Kanti seemed to completely withstand her pressure force. He quickly formed a set of hand seals and pressed his hands on the ground. A blue-purple barrier engulfed his lover, shielding a great deal of her power away. But even so, he could still feel it how glad he was that this room, as well as his mansion, was protected by several layers of high Fuins. If not, the power surge would have attracted nearly every living being on this world. After several minutes, the blonde man started to get nervous as Grayfia's power rise did not lessen but was still growing. At this rate, he would need to apply another barrier, his old one already having countless cracks, near to the point of bursting. But to his great relief, the flow of magic finally died out. He waited several seconds before he felt it safe to dissolve his barrier. Naruto's eyes widened in glee when he saw his silver-haired woman standing there unharmed. This was it. He could feel her power. It felt like his and Kagaya's. Grayfia. The moment he said her name, the woman opened her eyes. Seemingly a bit disorientated at first, she quickly regained her bearings and gazed upon her hands. Taking a deep breath, the former devil balled them to fists. Naruto only smirked as he watched his partner, more so when he gazed behind her. During the merging with his power and soul, her bathrobe had come undone and fallen to the floor, leaving her standing there in all her splendid nudity. The evolution process was a success. Behind Grayfia, he did not see her usual black devil wings. No, from her shoulders blades sprouted a set of 10 wings shaped into the form of silver-glowing tendrils, the new and majestic appendages gently swaying behind her back. The power input is incredible. I know she would be strong, but this already a set of 8 wings alone during her reincarnation. Fantastic, my dear, truly fantastic. The former Jinchuriki gave a satisfied grin. The plan was set in motion. Now on to gather further loyal allies ready to receive his gift. The gift of becoming a transcendent. 3 days later, a forest clearing behind Naruto's mansion, Ko City, Japan. Many birds were happily chirping on the countless branches of the trees that surrounded the small clearing. Only a few rays of sunshine managed to break through the green mass of leaves to illuminate the forest ground. He could hear them. He could feel them. He could feel every living being miles around his position. Their breathing, their sounds, their movements made him feel at peace, made him feel the deep connection that he still shared with Mother Nature. A soft hum escaped his lips, still as peaceful as I remember it to be. Naruto slowly opened his eyes. The dark brown markings around his eyes and cheeks also vanished after a few seconds. Carefully massaging his stiff neck, the blonde transcendent shifted his curious eyes over the small clearing he was currently meditating on. The soft splashing of the near stream filled his ears, as well as the cool breeze that shot through the deep forest. This was the peace and quiet he often wished for. Having this small break once a while was truly a blessing, a refreshing experience for his strained mind. Just experiencing Mother Nature in all her glory was a break from his daily life. Letting out a pleasant sigh, the Rinnegan wielder basked in the aftermath of his meditation. It always allowed him to sort out his mind, which had been quite strained to say the least. The last week had been quite eventful. Grayfia's successful reincarnation into a transcendent had lifted his spirits up. She had gained a new state of evolution, something no devil, no angel, not even a god would be able to reach. Even though she may never reach his or Kagaya's level, it was still worth every bit of pain and sweat. Never thought he would thank the devil race for one of its creations. His woman, his fiancée, was still a bit unused to her new powers, but that was to be expected. The silver-haired beauty needed to learn how to control her immense magic reserves, which would take some time. During the last days since her reincarnation, They had trained quite a lot inside his personal training ground. He still wondered how the seals had not broken during the intense training regime. He would prefer not to reveal their presences to the world just now. The time was not right yet. Much needed to be done before he could grace this world with his presence. He still needed to find and collect the remaining 7 gems, although the one, which was currently in the Gremry clan's possession, would still be out of reach for a while. That brought the man to a possible ally for him in the future, though she was currently nothing more than his puppet. He frowned. That did leave a bitter taste on his lips. The Gremry girl was not a bad person, quite the contrary in fact. He had actually liked the little date they shared in order for him to analyze her evil piece set, not that he would tell his Grayfia since she would probably freeze his balls for that thought alone. Possessive woman indeed. Naruto scratched his chin. He may have gained the information he needed for creating his own set of evil pieces, but that did not mean that his business with Rias Gremry was done. On the contrary, he needed her influence and blood to gain the 3rd gem. And for that, he needed to make her absolutely loyal to him, and what better way to make her fall in love with him? She would do everything for him in the end, even betray her own family if the time came. The former Jinchuriki sighed deeply. It still doesn't feel right. Rias also deserves some kind of happiness, but I have no choice. Protecting this world is far more important than one single little devil. Someday I may be able to tell her the truth, but not now. It did not feel right for him to play with the feelings of a young girl like Rias, but it was for the greater good. He just hoped that the girl would not be able to awaken something inside him. It would not do well for him to develop feelings for the crimson-haired princess. The thought actually worried him. It had been the day after Grayfia's inclusion to his new peerage when he had his second date with Rias. It was quite funny if he was honest with himself, even though it was not anything special. Rias wanted to show him the city, and they spent most of the afternoon just sightseeing and shopping. Lots of shopping. He shuddered at the mere reminder. It was already bad when Grayfia took him out for shopping. Well, it is not always that bad, especially when she is purchasing some exquisite lingerie. It was probably the only time when he did not complain, making him believe that the former silver-haired devil did it on purpose just to shut his complaints. Oh well, that was a thought for another day. Back to his date, it had ended quite well and with another attempt to kiss him. Unfortunately, he had made her believe that they had kissed at the end of their last date, and as such, Rias already seemed to consider him her boyfriend. Not a bad thing per se, but he still wanted to be a faithful lover to his fiancée, so with a quick pulse to her mind, Naruto made her fall asleep. The former Jinchuriki feared that he would have to do this every time now. He did feel bad doing this to her, but for the greater good, he would do everything if it only meant his success. He should just send one of his Kaiga Bunshin to the coming dates with Rias, as it would make things so much easier. Putting the young Gremry heiress aside, he now had to think of ways to gain new peerage members. Grayfia was his first addition, his only queen and second in command. But he needed more members who would be completely loyal to him and his cause, willing to sacrifice everything for him. The problem resided in finding such allies. Most connections he had made in this world did not have his trust, and most of them were currently undisposed to become a transcendent. Maybe he should try to be a bit more forceful regarding the allegiance of the ones he rescued 3 months ago. He had allowed most of them to live on their own, not wanting to further pull them into the war against the Legion. He thought that they had already suffered enough, seen enough of war, death, and sorrow. Naruto was sure they just wanted to forget about the destruction of their home world and not be dragged deeper into the darkness. Although, that might be impossible. It was only a matter of time before this world was discovered. They would have to fight against them whether they wanted or not, so might as well give them an actual chance to defend themselves. Maybe from now on, he should actively pursue them to gain their allegiance. Before he could further dwell in his thoughts, the blonde man felt a disruption in nature. "What news do you bring?" His question was seemingly pointed at no one. Only a second passed before the ground to his left started to bulge. A pitch-black substance erupted and took the form of a humanoid upper body. The head of the newcomer lacked any visible hair, while only 2 yellow pupilless eyes gazed at the blonde entity. The black-colored humanoid turned his head to look around before it formed a mouth with jagged teeth, making it seem like it smiled. So Naruto's cold gaze shifted over to the creature. "What do you have to report, Zetsu?" The now-named Zetsu only chuckled darkly. "A good morning to you too." Rolling his eyes, Naruto turned his stare to look up at the sky. "Just get on with it already." The black creature just chuckled. "I've got good news and bad news. Which one would you like to hear first?" "Start with the good news then. I found the gem, which you presumed has landed in heaven. I waited for over 5 months inside the Vatican for an angel to appear. Their race barely visits the human world nowadays." Zetsu's grin fell. It was quite difficult to take control over the angel without the exorcists and cardinals noticing it, but then I was finally able to access heaven. I must say the biblical god did quite a task on securing his realm from the outside world. "So you found the gem?" "I did, or more. I managed to find out its location inside heaven. Unfortunately, the angel I took over was only a lower one, so he didn't have access to all the places." Zetsu's yellow eyes glowed. "And here the bad news start. The bijou stone is stored inside the silver spire, heaven's most guarded stronghold and meeting place of the seraphim, the highest-ranked angels who are currently guarding Heaven's throne. Naruto's eyes darkened. My possessed host wasn't even allowed to go near the Silver Spire, and unfortunately, I couldn't possess one of the 12 current Seraphim members. There is simply no shadow in heaven which would allow me to sneak around and maybe gain possession of the stone. Maybe I am not the most suited person to infiltrate heaven. His partner had closed his eyes while listening to his report. Zetsu could see a clear frown on his face. It seems problems just keep arising one after another, and this one is even worse than my current one. Gaining possession of the one in Gremory's care seems easier. So only a seraph is allowed into the Silver Spire it was, yes? Troubling indeed, that is putting it mildly. During the last century none of them had even left heaven to come to the human world. It would be difficult to take over their bodies, but this way I could at least infiltrate their stronghold and enter the vault. So we need a seraph. The black creature only watched the blonde man in silence. I suppose we need to wait for a better opportunity in the end. Opening his eyes, his Rinnegan stared into Zetsu's yellow eyes. We leave heaven alone for now. At least we know where to find the gem. That alone is a success, so better we search for the remaining ones in the meantime. You did good, Kawazetsu. The addressed creature only chuckled darkly. Naruto continued to glance coldly at his partner. He never trusted him in the first place, not after all that happened back during his childhood and the Fourth Shinobi War. But now he was stuck with him, and even if he did not want to admit it, Zetsu's help was essential in order to protect this world. He still did not know what Kaguya wanted to achieve by leaving Zetsu in his care. That woman was a mystery altogether, and to think that this creature could be considered her child, her creation. Sometimes his mind still found it hard to believe that Zetsu and Kaguya were behind all the wars between shinobis since their ability to draw chakra. That he was the one who controlled Obito, Madara, everyone, even Hagoromo's 2 sons in order to revive his mother someday. He was truly a cunning and twisting character. It would not do well to fully trust him. Nor did he trust Kaguya, but he still needed her help in dealing with the Legion. Still, that did not mean he would lower his guard. He was not that naive any longer. He would never forget all the pain and sorrow his family, his friends and his own person had to endure because of Kaguya's scheme. That she saved him did not mean anything if it was to him. He would have gladly died that day, together with his wife and daughter. But what was done, and now he had managed to gain a new life. He would not leave Grayfia alone in this world. Zetsu's dark voice gathered his attention once again. So how was your progress so far? Hearing his amused chuckle made the former Akatsuki member raise his non-existent eyebrows. Many things have happened these last months, Zetsu. Grayfia managed to bring me the second gem from the underworld and confirmed the location of a third which I am currently working to gain possession. I also managed to give us an even better chance in resisting the Legion's grasp. And that would be? Naruto spared a glance at his partner. I managed to bring Grayfia to my level. I made her a transcendent. If Zetsu was surprised, he did not show it outwards. Interesting. I always wondered how Mother managed to evolve your body and mind to the same level as her. That gives us a great advantage over the Legion if you can reincarnate others to the same level. So that's the reason why I couldn't feel Grayfia's signature any longer. She now stands above anyone else together with yourself and Mother. Indeed, it will help us greatly. I managed to create several of those pieces for further use. Now I am only searching for ideal candidates. MMH Setsu's mouth formed a grin. At least some good news on this front. Now we already have 2 of the 9 Bijou Jewels. Mother will be more than pleased when she comes here. Naruto narrowed his eyes at his former enemy. Don't even believe for a second that I am doing this for Kaguya. I couldn't care less what she thinks of me, and I would truly be happy if she just left me alone. However, she is a valuable ally against them. I can really deny her help on this matter. She saved your life that fateful day. I would have expected a bit more thankfulness. She gave you power. She brought you to her state of evolution. You cannot deny her, ho? The former human took a deep breath. You make it sound like I owe her something. Let me say this once, Zetsu. I did not ask to be saved. I did not ask for another chance to live. And even if things have slowly become better for me, I will never thank her, Zetsu. I merely tolerate her presence. Nothing more, nothing less. Be careful with your next words, Naruto. My mother does not give second chances. She won't hesitate to oppose you, even though she found you very intriguing and interesting. She won't refuse her path to true peace just because of you. Because of me, huh? I couldn't care less of her. You shouldn't forget, Zetsu. You and Kaguya are in need of my help, aren't you? Personally, I don't need the gems as much as you. They are only memories to me, but for your dear Kaguya, they are far more valuable. I know what happened to her after she had sent me to this world. I know she lost a great deal of her power in fighting the Legion. She needs the stones to gain her true power again, huh? His Rinnegan seemed to glow. I am currently far stronger than Kaguya, so she can make me her plaything. I will never be her puppet. I will not do the same mistake again. Zetsu remained silent for several seconds, his yellow eyes never leaving his. So you still haven't realized? Realized what? My mother likes you. Silence. Naruto actually needed a few seconds to digest the said words, not sure if he had heard correctly. See, come again? Zetsu gave an amused chuckle. You've heard well enough. My mother has taken an interest in you. She already did when you and that Uchiha kid fought her once. She saw something great in you and she wasn't disappointed. You are the only one next to herself who she thinks is worthy enough to wield chakra. You are the only one worthy enough to stand next to her. A groan escaped Naruto's lips as he processed the words, knowing full well that things would get quite difficult and complicated in the future. I truly wonder who is more troublesome, Office or Kaguya. Oh, I can already feel one hell of a headache coming. Zetsu only watched his partner, his eyes deprived of emotions. He could still hear his mother's voice inside his mind. She needed this man in front of him. He was her chosen one, and as her child, Zetsu would do everything so that his mother would be able to stand up to her future mate. Several hours later, old school building of Ko Academy. It was dark inside the spacious room of the former school building of Ko Academy. Only a few candles and the disappearing rays of sunshine bringing some light to illuminate the chamber, which was built in quite a particular style. A wooden paneled floor with two Victorian-style couches surrounding a simple low table stood in the middle of the room, which walls were covered with many expensive pictures. A wooden desk was placed at the end of the large chamber. Rhea simply looked outside of the window, enjoying the sunset that bathed nature in such a lovely orange-red light. It was beautiful. The crimson-haired princess had her head leaned on her right-hand palm while she sat at her desk. It had been quite a long day for her. Normal school took always quite some time to finish, and afterwards, she needed to research and study everything there was to know about the underworld or the supernatural in general. It was quite a good thing that her family managed to purchase this old building, so that their daughter had an operation base to manage her territory, namely the city of Ko, and at the same time, it was also her home while she was here in the human world, as well as the meeting place for her young peerage. Rhea sighed. Yes, she always had a busy day plan, more so when there was a stray devil to kill. But during the last few weeks, there were other things on her mind. Firstly, to reincarnate Hayato Issei into one of her servants, and secondly, since roughly 1 week, her boyfriend Naruto Uzumaki. Boyfriend, the word left quite a pleasant taste on her lips if she was honest with herself. The young woman gave a dreamy sigh as she thought of the blonde-haired man that came into her life. It seemed like he came out of nowhere, and he made her feel like nothing she ever experienced before. If she did not know any better, one could think that she was slowly falling in love with the ever-cheerful blonde man. She, the heiress to the Gremory house, was falling in love with a simple human. She wondered what her family would think of her, especially since she was already engaged to another heir of a royal house. Quickly shaking her head, Rhea tried not to think about him right now. She still had some time to sort things out, still time to change her future. Suddenly, the magic transportation circle on the other side of her clubroom glowed bright red, and seconds later did a figure manifest inside the circle. Rhea's eyes shifted over to the newcomer. Her composure relaxed as she saw the familiar form of her queen. I am back, Bucho. The crimson-haired devil gave a slight nod. Did you fulfill the contract with your client? Of course, Bucho. With a wide smile, the female devil walked across the room to stand in front of her master's desk, her eyebrows slightly raised as she saw the soft, dreamy look on her face. Although she should be used to it by now, her crimson-haired king wore the same expression nearly all day since her first meeting with this mysterious Naruto person. She would really love to meet him, but her king just kept avoiding her. Please, such a selfish king she had. Era, is Bucho already thinking of her favorite boy toy? Rhea's face immediately turned bright red, her eyes showing her anger as she glared at her queen. Do not even start about Naruto-kun again, Akino. The young king crossed her arms underneath her chest, showing her servant that she was not pleased with the start of their conversion. Era, my bad, Bucho. Maybe you just fear that you'll lose your boy toy to me should you decide to introduce him to your peerage. I could make it worth for him, and show him pleasure and pain, mostly pain. Akino Rhea growled the name of her queen, her eyes narrowed to dangerous levels. Akino Himejima, her trusted queen and best friend. She was the same age as Rhea and also a student of Ko Academy. Much to her king's dismay and her own amusement, Akino had a far more curvaceous figure than the crimson-haired devil, mostly thanks to her fallen angel blood. Even though Rhea counted as the most beautiful girl of her school, her best friend earned more points in regards to sex appeal. Her queen had raven black hair, which she kept tied in a long ponytail with an orange ribbon, her ponytail nearly reaching the ground. She had beautiful violet eyes and flawless pale skin, her delicate facial features making her natural beauty stand out even more. Just like her master and friend, she wore the typical Ko Academy uniform, which did nothing to hide her impressive bust and hips. Even though she often cursed her friend for her curves and bold personality, Akino was still her best friend and most trusted servant. Rhea had known her now for nearly 6 years, and she was the first member of her peerage. The Priestess of Thunder, that was her name among the populace of the underworld. But right now, she was a giant pain and tease to her. Since her relationship with Naruto, the crimson-haired devil was teased nearly on daily basis by her queen. It started to get quite annoying, if she may say so. Her best friend was always trying to pry more information about her boyfriend out. But till now, Rhea had always managed to shake off her queen's questions. It would not do well if her seductive servant came to meet her first boyfriend. She just knew that Akino would try something on him, if only just to annoy her. The black-haired queen placed her right hand on her cheek, a small blush on her face while she smiled innocently. My apologies, Bucho. I tend to lose myself when I think of your Naruto-kun. Maybe I should stalk you on one of your dates just to meet him afterwards and pry him off your grasp and into the arms of a real woman, nay?" Leaning back into her chair, Rias gave a tired sigh, though her face still held a displeased expression. "Stop it now, Akino! What I do in my private time is of no concern to you, nor should it concern you with who I go out. Era. The playful smile on Akino's lips slowly vanished, the queen now looking at her king with a serious expression. "Rias, I am concerned for you. You are my king, my best friend, and here you go and start to fall for a simple human. Even if this Naruto is such a good person and makes you happy, he is still but a human. Nothing good will come out if you continue this relationship with him. I don't want to see you in pain, Rias." The Gremry heiress softened her glare as she took in the words of her best friend. Giving a deep sigh, she turned her head to look out the window. "I know, Akino, I know. It's just I feel so happy right now, like I finally managed to find the piece to complete me. Naruto-kun, I don't want to lose him. Rias, I am falling in love with him, Akino. At least I think I do. It's something I've never felt before, but I just know it. You're right, it may not end well for us, but I just need to try and make something out of us." Akino raised one of her delicate eyebrows. "You plan on making him one of your servants?" Her king only bit her bottom lip. "I don't know yet. Maybe I will, but not for now. I don't really want to push him into our world, Akino. He does deserve a normal life, but on the other hand, I want him to remain in my life. I never want to let go of him. I know it sounds selfish on my part. Well, we are devils. It's only in our nature to be selfish, is it not?" Rias only closed her eyes. "That may be true, but now is not the time. I want to enjoy my time with Naruto-kun before I tell him about us. I can only hope he will take it well. To be honest, I am feeling quite bad not telling him about me being a devil. I only hope over time I'll manage to tell him, maybe when our relationship has progressed a bit." The raven-haired devil remained silent for a moment, her eyes gazing over Ria's thoughtful expression. "So you do plan to reincarnate him if the time is right?" Era Bucho, I still wonder why you haven't tried to visit him during the night, giving him one of your special sleepovers. I am sure he wouldn't mind much." Akino, the crimson-haired woman's cheeks flushed a deep red as she heard her friend's giggle. I am sure the time isn't right yet. We are dating for a week now, surely trying to sleep with him may be a bit too early or not. And even if I would like to, I still don't know where he actually lives." "Ho? He never showed you his home? You didn't even send your familiar to spy on him?" Huffing, the Gremry heiress glared at her best friend. "Of course not, Akino. What Naruto-kun and myself have is something serious. I don't want to break his privacy. And I only know where he works during the day. After our dates, he always brings me home, so I haven't had the chance to see his own home. When the time is right, Naruto-kun will show it to me, I am sure of it." Furrowing her eyebrows, Akino gazed out of the window, seeing how the last ray of sunshine vanished. "Still, I don't know why you wait to have him become one of your servants? I mean, Rias, you may have not that much time left, and you know it. You should start completing your peerage before it may be too late." In response to her queen's words, Rias frowned. She had a valid point, that could not be denied. She still had most of her pieces left, and there were not that many possible candidates in sight. "You're right, Akino, but unfortunately apart from Haida Issei, there is not really a good choice left. I could make Naruto-kun into one of my pieces, but it will take time for him to grow to a reasonable level. He is only human, he doesn't even have a sacred gear like Haidu, so his growth will be too slow for the upcoming event, I fear. Issei seems to be the only choice I have, especially if he truly wields one of the 13 Longinus. He will be a valuable asset if we can train him." Rias looked at her servant. "Speaking of him, any news about Issei?" Smiling with closed eyes, Akino crossed her hands over her lap. "Hi Bucho. It seems the fallen angels really are after Issei-san. Kaneko and Kiba saw some of them spying on him. They may be after his sacred gear, maybe even here to kill him. We should contact him soon, Bucho, before they make their move on him." Licking her dry lips, the crimson-haired devil stood up from her chair and walked over to the window, gazing out at the darkening sky. "Yes, we should," or feeling Akino's questioning gaze on her back, Rias scratched her chin and thought. "Maybe we could make use of the fallen angel's interest in Issei. If they truly try to kill him, I could resurrect him. On the verge of death, he wouldn't have a choice but to become my servant, though this doesn't suit me. I can't let this possibility go wasted, Akino. I need Issei's sacred gear for my future, and he wouldn't object much. I think there are many more worse fates possible." Era Bucho, so cold of you, letting Issei-san possibly die just to get him into your peerage, but in the end, we are devils in the end and we take what we want. Era, but here I wonder, Bucho, you don't seem to have a real problem ruining Issei-san's life, but you don't want to involve your boy toy yet. One could say you play favorites, Rias, nay? Letting a tired sigh escape her lips, the crimson-haired princess turned around. "There is quite a difference, Akino. Naruto will probably never know of the supernatural world because he is a simple human with no special traits and powers. Issei, on the other hand, has been gifted with a sacred gear, and not just anyone, but a possible Longinus, he is bound to be involved with us at some time. I am only speeding up the inevitable Aquino. Hi Bucho. Giving a short bow to her king, the raven-haired queen walked out of the room to prepare some cookies. Knowing how her master, and especially Kaneko, loved them, Rias was left alone in her clubroom. Sighing pleasantly, the beautiful woman gazed out into the coming night. I wonder what you are doing right now, Naruto-kun. At the same time, Naruto's mansion, outskirts of Ko City, his loud sneeze shook the peaceful quiet of the house as Naruto walked down the floor. Cursing while wiping his nose clean, the blonde-haired transcendent walked down the stairs after having taken a good pleasant shower. Since it was still quite hot even at this hour, he wore a simple unbuttoned white shirt, showing off his chiseled chest and black pants. Wonder who is bad-mouthing me? Probably Sasuke-teen, wherever his soul may rest. Running his right hand through his still wet hair, which curiously still remained spiky despite the wetness, Naruto stepped through the door into his kitchen where he already saw his beautiful fiancée doing the preparations for dinner. Bless you, Anata. Smiling at her soft voice, he walked behind her delicate frame and embraced her, burying his face into her lovely hair. Giving a soft hum, Grayfia smiled softly while she cut the vegetables, gasping lowly when her lover kissed her neck, his warm breath and lips sending tickles through her body. Enjoying the closeness with his love, the former Jinchuriki rested his head on her right shoulder, the former ultimate class devil seemingly content being in his embrace. You have a guest, Naruto-kun. She just arrived from her journey you allowed her to undertake. I know, babe. I sensed her magic signature while I was in the shower, though I wonder why she isn't in the house. I hope you did not forbid her from entering the house, my love. You know this is her home too. Huffing, the silver-haired beauty turned around in his arms and sneaked her arms around his neck, gently brushing her soft lips against his own. Oh, quiet you. She just preferred to remain a bit outside. It seems she enjoys our Sakura garden. She awaits you there. Humming, Naruto placed a soft kiss on her lovely lips and then on her cute nose, making her smile in response. Alright, I go and meet her. It probably won't take long, so afterwards I can help you making dinner. I'll hold you to your promise, my dear. Giving her another short kiss, he let go of his fiancée and walked through the kitchen and living room before opening the glass door to the garden. Night was slowly swallowing nature in darkness, though he could still see some part of the sky illuminated in an orange light. Leisurely walking across the large garden, over the granite pathway till he crossed the traditional wooden Japanese bridge over the small stream that traveled through his well-kept garden. Some weak light entries illuminated his path. After some time, Naruto reached the several sakura trees in the backyard. He liked this sort of trees, they reminded him of his former teammate. May her soul rest in peace. So here you are. I hope you enjoy my garden, especially the trees, it would seem. With a small smile, he walked up to the lone figure standing in between the sakura trees. I love the sight and scent of these trees. They are beautiful and majestic, and they suit me very well. Wouldn't you think so too, Naruto-sama? Seeing her seductive smile, Naruto only sighed, his own smile still present on his face while he came to stop a few inches in front of the female figure. Why yes, they do suit you, especially your beautiful hair. The female smiled seductively. Hearing such praise from you, it means I managed to gain your attention, though I do hope that you will also value my skill in the future, Naruto-sama. Naruto rolled his eyes. You know you don't have to call me that way. I truly hate these formalities, you know, Ikaruga. The now named Ikaruga giggled softly, her eyes boring into his very own. But I like to call you so, you are my master after all, nay Naruto-sama? Her playful yet beautiful smile made him sigh. If you say so, Ikaruga. Naruto took his time to look at the woman, who just shortly came back from her trip. Ikaruga, no given family name, was one of the few survivors of Fiori. She was one of few who he managed to save from the Legion's claws shortly after he managed to open a portal to her dimension. She was truly beautiful if he was honest with himself. Ikaruga seemed to be in her mid to end 20s, her pale flawless skin accentuating her delicate facial features, but more so her ruby-coated full lips and her shining emerald eyes, which reminded him so much of his deceased Mei-chan. A beauty mark could be seen underneath each eye. But what gained most of his attention was always her beautiful bright pink hair, the same shade of Sakura's own. Her long hair reached her waist while two shorter bangs framed her pretty face and went down to rest on top of her bust, although still most of her hair was tied on top of her head with two buns, making him believe that it was even longer than he thought. Her dress was also quite interesting, if he may say so. Now that he thought about it, it did seem quite Japanese, which surprised him because she already dressed like this back at her home world. The pink-haired woman wore a long white and slightly loose kimono above a blood-red hakama, which covered her waist and legs, the beautiful dress being kept together by a black-red belt. Her kimono had long loose sleeves while a red flaming rose decorated the left underside of her dress. Did Naruto need to say that her white kimono did not cover her shoulders and allowed him a wonderful view of her impressive cleavage, Ikaruga having crossed her arms underneath her bust to make it stand out even more. In addition, his ally did not wear socks, but just red sandals with extremely high soles, allowing her to nearly reach his nose, while a black choker was wrapped around her neck. And now that he looked closer, Ikaruga had crossed her arms to hold a very long nodachi, the sword as sheath and hilt being nearly as long, as her own body. Naruto wondered how he could have missed that. It probably did not have to do anything with her wonderful voluptuous cleavage, probably not. Yes, Ikaruga was quite a woman indeed, not only her beauty but also her prowess with the sword. He had seen her fighting desperately against two Shivaras at the same time. Quite the feat, if he may say, managing to hold her own against the six-armed demonesses with burning green steel swords. Her magic signature had been the only one left in the entire western part of the continent of Fiori. She was the only one he could save from that part, yet it was better than nothing. Ikaruga had been quite thankful to her savior, and when he brought her to his home, she was the only one of the few survivors who wanted to stay by his side. Not really seeing the issue with her wish apart from Grayfia's piercing glare burning a hole into his back, he allowed her to live with them in his mansion, which was quite big, having more than enough rooms to fit even more people in. Ikaruga had been truly devoted to him, though he did wonder why that was the case. Sure, he had saved her from certain death, but that alone should not really have made her this loyal to him. And her seductive, playful personality was interesting to say the least, though to his great relief, after having suffered a part of Grayfia's fury, the pink-haired sword mistress had refrained from trying something while his silver-haired woman was near. At least he had a loyal ally in her. In the end, that was all that mattered to him. Scratching his chin, the former Jinchuriki gave her a joyful smile. Well, it's good to have you back, Ikaruga. I hope your travel wasn't too long, though you were gone for 2 months, so quite a stupid question of my part, nay? The woman giggled softly. So Ikaruga. Naruto could not finish his sentence before he found her right delicate index finger on his lips. He raised one of his eyebrows at her gesture and simply watched her smile seductively. I thought I already told you, Naruto-sama. She licked her supple lips. I want you to call me your Hato-chan. I am yours after all. All right, that sounded quite forward, even to him, and sometimes he was still dense as a brick if it came to the feelings of a woman. He gave a gentle hum as Ikaruga's right hand moved to caress his left cheek. You know, Ikaruga, I mean Hato-chan. The former Fiori mage smiled happily. Calling you my little dove is, how should I put this, a bit too cheeky perhaps. People might think the wrong things. Flashing him a beautiful sultry smile, Ikaruga hummed. Then let them think what they want, Naruto-sama. Maybe their assumptions may prove to be correct after all. Nay, Naruto-sama. Oh boy, this seemed to go out of control now. Better stop her now before she actually managed to seduce him. Better not risk Grayfia's wrath, or he could kiss his balls and then his life goodbye. Not really the future he hoped to achieve. Taking the petite hand, which caressed his cheek, in his own, the blonde man brought her back to his owner, the woman giving a disappointed sigh at his action. Now that the pleasantries are over, I am glad you're finally home. Though 2 months had been quite a long time to travel the world, I suspected you would come home earlier. Naruto's purple eyes bored deeply inside Ikaruga's shining emerald ones. Naruto-sama, did you miss me so much? It could not be helped in the end. My travels took more time than I thought, and I wanted to bring you something special, something you seem to desire. Something you seem to search for quite some time now. Her smile grew as she saw his eyes widening. Did you find another one? Instead of answering, Ikaruga simply smiled before sliding her right hand into her cleavage, making him flush a bit and her giggle in response. Naruto tried to focus his attention, but it was quite a hard task if he was honest. Fortunately or unfortunately, he did not quite know which one. The pink-haired mage finally found what she was searching for and her hand emerged from her voluptuous cleavage. Naruto's gaze was still glued to her girls and only Ikaruga's melodious giggle brought him out of his stare. Shaking his head to get rid of the not-so-innocent thoughts that just crossed his mind, Naruto tried to regain a bit of his authority. Do you like the view, Naruto-sama? The seductive gleam in her eyes made him swallow hard. This woman truly knew how to play her cards. Coughing, the former Jinchuriki focused his attention on the single piece in Ikaruga's delicate hand. His eyes widened before a smirk sneaked on his lips. You surprised me there. Hato-chan, truly a surprise you got me there, my dear. The sword mistress simply gave him the stone the moment he extended his hand. Her gaze fell on his happy face, a satisfied smile gracing his lips while his strange yet beautiful eyes seemed to glow in a light purple. This look suited him very well. She liked it very much so. Ikaruga hummed softly, enjoying the cold breeze that the darkening night brought, her long pink hair swaying to the side. I hope it is what you are searching, Naruto-sama. Oh, it is. Naruto gave her a true smile before returning his gaze on the stone lying on his hand palm. The gem was still warm while knowing where it was stored. That was not really a surprise. You certainly did well, Hato-chan. I must say I did wonder why you took so long, but now I can understand. It wasn't too hard, I hope. The small smooth gem in his hand was in a light gray color, the number 6 engraved deeply into the jewel. Ikaruga just closed her eyes and shook her head. Of course not, Naruto-sama, although it did take me more time to find its location. Naruto only hummed. So where was it? Not in possession of the angels or devils, I suppose? The former maid shook her head. No, the humans had taken the gem. It was actually a mere coincidence that I came to search for it. How so? Well, Naruto-sama, you did allow me to see this world first before giving me a chance to work for you, and as I did travel from China over Russia to Europe to see how the humans here lived, I found a trace while visiting the Louvre Museum in France. One of the paintings showed Queen Victoria I during her accession to the throne of the United Kingdom in 1837, and on the painting, I noticed that she was given a gift by the new King of Hanover, Ernst August I. It looked exactly like the one stone in your possession, Naruto-sama, though in another color, and knowing how you wanted to collect them, I could not let this chance escape. It was just an assumption of mine, but in the end, I was right, Naruto hummed. Ah yes, the end of the personal union between the United Kingdom of England and the Kingdom of Hanover. I remember the event, though at that time, it did not interest me. Had I known that in the future I would need those stones, I would have stolen it right away. How ironic, is it not? Ikaruga gave a small smile at his sore expression before continuing. As I said, I had a hunch that it was one of the gems you desired so much, and so, I tried to find its location. So naturally, I visited England in the first place, and tried to find if the gem was still in the possession of the British royal family. During my visit inside the Tower of London, I managed to persuade one of the museum guides to tell me about the jewels in the royal family's possession. Persuade? Naruto did not sound too convinced with the word, more so when the young woman smirked. I have my ways, Naruto-sama. I bet you do. Not minding his skeptical look, Ikaruga continued with her tale. I found out that many jewels, that were stored inside the tower, were actually sent over the Atlantic Ocean to the United States of America, to preserve them from being destroyed due to the constant air raids in World War II. Naruto narrowed his eyes before widening them, a small sigh escaping his lips now that he placed the puzzles together. So you were behind the raid on Fort Knox, were you not? Seeing her smile happily, the former shinobi sighed in desperation. Troublesome. I did not have another choice to get the piece, Naruto-sama. After learning that the jewels and other documents were stored inside Fort Knox, it was clear I needed to get in, forcefully of course, because unfortunately they do not allow visits. The beautiful sword mage chuckled. It seems you saw the news about my little intrusion. I bet they will never know who did it, master. I was and I still am quite adept in sneaking in undetected. Assassinations were my specialty after all. Naruto gave her a flat look. Oh yes, cutting a giant hole in the thick outer wall surely is the meaning of a sneak intrusion. A lovely pink flush appeared on Ikaruga's cheeks while she closed her eyes, seemingly embarrassed. Not my most glorious moment, I admit, but I only did it for you, Naruto-sama. And as far as I know, the authorities still do not have a single clue who or rather what did it. This is completely out of their comprehension, so you have nothing to fear, especially not from the humans of this world. UV got a valid point. Still, I preferred whatever. What matters is that you managed to get the gem in the end, so this little incident does not matter in fact. Especially since they do not seem to know that something was stolen in the first place. Thank you for your praises, Naruto-sama. The Transcendent gave her a small smile. You did quite well, Hato-chan. Not even in my services yet, and already you managed to bring me something invaluable. I am more than impressed and satisfied with your intention to help me. I didn't quite expect this, I must say. Ikaruga's pretty face turned serious before she gave him a small, elegant bow. I hope I please you. I am yours to command after all, Naruto-sama. The blonde man's intense gaze remained on her form. He was quite pleased with her performance, and apparent devotion to him. Although, he did wonder why she seemed so eager to follow his lead. Just because he saved her would not make her so loyal to him. This was more than a simply debt. Ikaruga did not just feel indebted to him because he saved her life. Seeing his stern gaze, the pink-haired mage became a bit nervous. Is something the matter, Naruto-sama? Did I not do to your liking? Her hesitant voice made him frown. Quite the contrary, Ikaruga-chan, though I need to ask why. She raised one of her delicate eyebrows. Why what? Why go to such lengths for me? It's not that I am ungrateful. I am very pleased with your performance, but this just raises the question why. Why do you want to follow me? When I told you that you could live here, I didn't even ask if you would follow me sometime in the future. None of the others who I managed to save wanted to do anything with the idea of having to face the Legion once more, and I did not want to force them since I can understand them. So this just makes me curious as to why you seem so eager to become my ally, Ikaruga. The sword mage lowered her head. He could see her bit her bottom lip. It seemed she was quite hesitant, though he wondered why. From the 1 month before he allowed her to travel around the world, he already knew that she was quite the strong-willed person and definitely not shy. This look she now had in her eyes did not suit her. Naruto-sama, is it so strange for me to seek your presence? I cannot speak for the others from my home world, but for me I do not have anyone left. If not for your offer, I would not even have a place I could call home. Her voice became very low. I won't lie to you, Naruto-sama. I am not eager to fight against them another time. I already know what to expect, but I also know that it will be inevitable, will it not? The least I could do is to pledge my loyalty to you, Naruto-sama. My sword will be yours to command. I will follow you to whatever end the future holds for us. Naruto only looked at her before he stepped closer to her and took her chin in his free hand, making the woman look at him. Are you sure about this, Ikaruga-chan? There will be no more turning back after you pledge yourself to me. I know, Naruto-sama. Her eyes held a determined gleam. I know what I want, and that is to stand by your side. I want to leave you, never you gave me so much, you do not even know how much, Naruto-sama. You accepted me despite my past as a dark mage, you never accused me of all the assassinations I did in my past life. I did not expect you to understand my situation, but you did. You never saw me in a different light despite knowing what I did. That was more than most did for me. Breaking the contact with her smooth cheek, the blonde transcendent hummed, his eyes never leaving the woman's own pair. You seem surprised that I could accept you so easily, huh? I told you that my former profession was quite similar to yours, Ikaruga-chan. The life of a shinobi, death, sabotages and assassinations, they were quite common during my days, though to be honest with you, I didn't really participate in any assassination missions. The elite forces mostly did them, not that I was not one of them, I just had a bit too much own stuff to sort out. So you see, Hato-chan, you don't have to be ashamed of what you did in your past. You'll always be welcomed here, just so you know. Giving him a beautiful smile, the former dark mage licked her supple lips. Such a considerate master I have, lucky little me. Naruto chuckled in response. I hope I can be of further use to you, Naruto-sama. MMH, the man glanced down at her sword. You did just more than prove your loyalty to me, Hato-chan. I can see a reason why not, especially since I decided to gain yours and the other mages' support after all. So tell me, Ikaruga-chan, how do your sword techniques come along? Is your sword functional again? The pink-haired woman smiled softly and looked down at her sword, which she held in between her crossed arms. The sword was called Mugetsu Ryu, if he remembered correctly. It was a beautiful-looking nodachi, if he was honest, the weapon being almost as long as its wielder. The sheath was in a deep red color with a red-black handguard, while the long yellow-red hilt was decorated with golden metallic plates, which ended in an ornate carved pommel. A powerful sword indeed. It goes well, Naruto-sama. Another reason why I decided to follow you. You gave me back my nodachi. You repaired it, made it whole again. This nodachi is my most precious possession, Naruto-sama, the last heirloom of my father. She caressed the beautiful ornate hilt. The last and only thing I got from my father before he was killed during my 6th birthday. If it was not for you, I would still be but a broken shell. During these last 7.5 years, it had lost most of its power, and in turn dulled my abilities. It was a pain, to be honest, losing my most powerful weapon in swordsmanship just because of one lost battle. I still cannot thank you enough, Naruto-sama. He waved her thankful smile off, though he could not quite pinpoint the gleam in her eyes. She would not try anything with Grayfia on his side, would she? So what is the plan, master? Naruto remained silent for a few seconds before slowly, a smirk formed on his lips. Say, Hato-chan, what would you say to become my knight, nay, my lovely sword mistress? The former Jinchuriki chuckled at her confused gaze. Do not worry, I'll explain it to you after dinner. Nodding, Ikaruga then gave a seductive smile to the man before she leaned forwards. Naruto was stunned when she pressed her soft lips against the corner of his mouth before breaking the contact a second after. Seeing his still stunned expression, the beautiful sword mage giggled before she moved past him, sending him one last glance. I hold you to that, Naruto-sama, but before dinner, I would like to take a shower. Just giving a simple nod, the former Fiori mage walked to the mansion, though she did feel Naruto's gaze on her back, making her smile. The transcendent being could only watch his new peerage member walking away, his eyes never leaving the sway of her shapely hips. That woman, her personality reminds me a bit of Mei-chan. Kami knows she was just as seductive and flirty with me. Sighing deeply, he took a moment to gaze at the gem Ikaruga managed to bring him. Now 3 are in our possession, only 6 to go. Storing the jewel inside his pocket, the former shinobi slowly walked back to the house, intending to help his fiancée with dinner. I just hope that Fie-chan doesn't notice Ikaruga's intentions gonna be a pain to keep her from freezing my newest member. I swear that woman has a sixth sense when it comes to such situations. Stepping into the kitchen, he could already smell the delicious scent of steak and potatoes. Guess he was longer outside than he thought. Still left me some work to do, I hope? Grayfia only hummed and pointed to the salad. Giving an amused smile, he went to work. Good, at least she doesn't suspect anything. Luck seems to be on my side for once. The silver-haired beauty turned to face her lover. Her impassive expression quickly turned into an annoyed one. Naruto gulped audibly as he saw the slight twitch of her right eyebrow. Anada? Why ya, babe? Is that lipstick on the corner of your mouth? Care to tell me? Fuck it. 2 hours later, shopping district of Nerima City, several miles south of Ko City, Japan. Naruto calmly walked on the pavement to his destination. It was already pitch dark outside and only the shine of the streetlights illuminated his path. Not a soul was out at this hour, mostly due to the cold breeze that kept the streets in its grasp. It seemed that a storm was coming up and the heat from the day had all but disappeared. The former shinobi gave a small sigh while continuing his path. Things had been quite awkward to say the least after Grayfia discovered the lipstick on his mouth. He did not find any way to talk himself out of the situation, and as such, his lovely woman gave him one hell of a beating. His head still ached just thinking about it. The atmosphere did not ease the moment Ikaruga stepped into the dining room after her warm shower, only clothed in one of his white shirts, which was too big for her and did nothing to hide her shapely hips and her long creamy legs, her wonderful chest not to forget. Her smile only triggered Grayfia's ire, and it took quite some strength to hold her down. He did not want his home to be frozen, much less his new peerage member to be killed by his queen's power. Fortunately, Ikaruga was the wiser and did not do any further seduction attempts on his person. She was not that keen on dying, and she knew very well that the silver-haired woman would kill her if she attempted something. Oh well, she could always get closer to him whenever his first member was somewhere else. After a somewhat deadly silent dinner, with occasional glares between the two females and Grayfia's cold shoulder treatment, Naruto explained his plans to the pink-haired sword mage. Ikaruga listened intently, and when he proposed to turn her into one of his kind, she did not hesitate one moment, surprising him and Grayfia. The former dark mage seemed more than eager to be of use to him, not that he would complain about her strong sense of loyalty. Naruto quickly brought them to his study room and performed Ikaruga's reincarnation into a transcendent. Yes, she was now his knight, his sword to kill the legions of demons that were to come to this world. Her power output had been strong, far stronger than he predicted it to be for a human mage, but nowhere near Grayfia's level. Well, it would take time for her to get used to her new power surge and to control it. The process did quite a turn on the beautiful sword mage, as she fell unconscious the moment her evolution was completed. The strain seemed to have been too much for her. Quickly taking her to her own room, he laid her down on the bed. She needed to rest now more than ever. Grayfia was still a bit off, but at least she talked to him again. Guess she was quite angry with him, or maybe she just feared, yes, a part of her feared what would be. Giving her a short but still gentle kiss, Naruto told her that he still needed to go out to persuade another possible member to his peerage. His fiancée did not seem too happy about it, but nevertheless nodded her consent. She would wait for him then. And now here he was, slowly walking down the streets of Nerima, only a few miles away from Ku to search, well more just persuade her to follow him. Although, he knew it would not be so simple. Of all the people he managed to save, she was emotionally unstable and still mourned the loss of her precious people. Not that he could not understand, since she had lost the most friends and family of the surviving Fiori mages, so it had and was still very difficult for her, but he needed her on his side. And not just to strengthen his own force, no, deep down, he wanted her to be happy again, to see a true smile on her lips. It would take some time, yes, but he needed to do it. She needed to become happy again. He could not forgive himself should he fail in doing so. He would not fail again. Finally, after some more minutes of walking the pavement, he found the house he was looking for, or rather the small pub, Takashi's sake bar. Oh, he did love sake for sure. With a small whistle, Naruto entered the pub. It was quiet and completely empty. Probably most customers did not want to go out of their homes with the worsening weather conditions this night. That was actually in his favor. At least this way, he could speak to her without making the rest of the customers fall asleep. But just to be sure, he placed a quick fuin on the door. Better not risk anything. His gaze traveled over the stuffy warm room until his eyes fell upon the bar on the other side of the room. He frowned when he did not saw the person he was searching for, but since he still felt her magical signature, she was probably just tending to the stores. Silently walking to the wooden bar, the blond man sat on one of the chairs and patiently waited for her to come out. Naruto gazed down on the desk, as he thought about how he should handle the following conversion. He knew he could not just force her to join him, not that he even wanted to do so in the first place. He needed to be a bit more tactful and sensitive to her feelings. After all, he knew exactly what she was feeling at the moment. Without Grayfia, he would still blame himself, he would still live a shadow life without anything to do. He gave a tired sigh. You know, Naruto-san, this tired and thoughtful expression doesn't suit you. A small smile graced his lips. Well, times had been quite hectic these last few weeks, but I didn't really come here to discuss my problems with you. He looked up and was met with two beautiful blue eyes. The woman hummed lowly. I didn't expect you at this late hour. Normally, you would have come last week to check on me, but I can see that you were quite busy then. The former Jinchuriki nodded slightly. Yeah, I am sorry, but I had some things to do which couldn't be postponed, but I haven't forgotten about you, nor will I ever in the future, Mary Jane. His gaze never left the shining orbs of one Mary Jane Strauss. A slight smile sneaked upon her lips as she heard his words. Part of her really felt relieved that he had not forgotten about her. Even though she always told him that he did not need to look after her, she was still happy for his intention to help her. He had a good soul after all, even if he thought he had lost it over time. Naruto glanced at the woman, Mary Jane Strauss, a beautiful woman if he may say so. She was still young, and if he recalled correctly, she just had her 20th birthday 2 months ago. The Fiori mage was at least 1.5 heads smaller than him and had a slender body, with curves in all the right places. Her flawless and pale skin accentuated her beautiful large dark blue eyes as well as her cute nose and plump lips, even though she did not wear any sort of makeup, not that it was necessary in his opinion. Mary Jane's long white hair nearly reached her, but while two smaller hair bangs framed her face and rested on top of her large bust, the ends being slightly curled. The small ponytail, which kept some strands of hair from falling down her forehead, made him chuckle. The beautiful mage wore a simple yet elegant ankle-length maroon dress without sleeves, which hugged her proud form quite good. Her chest, which the thin dress did nothing to hide, was adorned by a pink bow while matching trimmings acted as straps and framed her neck, other pink trimmings decorating her waist. She also wore maroon-colored high-heeled shoes, and a bracelet made of white flowers was wrapped around her right wrist. A necklace with a small oval blue gem finalized her attire. Mary Jane was indeed a sight to behold. However, even if her delicate facial features were undoubtedly beautiful, the sadness and sorrow in her eyes dulled her natural beauty. He should not be surprised to see her in such a state. The emotional wounds she had suffered only 3 months ago were still fresh and would take a long time to heal, though he was sure they would not heal fully. The ivory-haired mage was one of the few people, next to Ikaruga, who he managed to save from the Legion's destructive path. And just as the others he had saved, she was still scared and full of regret and sorrow. Mary Jane had lost too much that day, all her friends and her 2 siblings, the only family she had left till that day. She never recovered from their deaths. She seemed to be only a shell of her former self, without a real reason to live. She was just like him, before he met Grayfia and slowly found his old self again, or at least the pieces of his soul that survived the last centuries. He could not allow her to live such a life any longer. The woman needed him more than she thought. He would not leave her alone any longer. "What can I get you, Naruto-san?" Giving a soft hum, he just scratched his chin. "Just give me a good cup of sake on better thought. Make it 2, Mary Jane." The woman smiled softly before fulfilling his order. 2 sake bottles quickly stood in front of the blonde man, who silently poured himself a good amount into the offered cup. While Naruto took a first gulp of the cold liquid, Mary Jane simply watched her savior, knowing that this would not just be a short visit on his part. Smacking his lips, Naruto gave a happy grunt, making the woman smile a bit wider. "So Mary Jane, how is it going for you?" His question made her freeze for a moment before she regained her composure, but it was already enough to prove his assumption. "So she still hasn't adapted to this world, huh?" Mary Jane swallowed the lump in her throat, trying to distract herself by cleaning some glasses that were still in need to be washed. "Nothing much has happened, Naruto-san. I still have some problems to sort out, and apart from doing this job I found, I have nothing to do." "Mary Jane, please just call me Naruto. You know by now that I feel quite old if someone calls me that way. Aren't you over 3 centuries old?" Her innocent question, or more sneaky remark, caused the man to pout childishly, which gained him a small giggle from the ivory-haired mage. Only seconds later did a smile form on his lips as he saw her happy expression. It suited her really well. "Touché, Mary Jane. Please call me Mira, simply Mira Naruto." He gave her a warm smile. "But as you can see, ILL tried to come over the rounds. IV found this job some time after you managed to get me the apartment here in the city. It's not the best paid job, but now, I at least have some kind of activity to take my mind off. This job reminds me of my past, you know, there I was also the barmaid." Her smile became forced as she remembered her family, her guild. Fairy tale. Naruto frowned but remained silent when he saw her sad smile and the sorrow in her beautiful but dull eyes. He did not like to see her like this, with this fake smile. He had worn this smile almost all his childhood long. "Did you make no friends, Mira? I find it hard to believe that someone would not want to be friends with you, to be honest." And the woman carefully dried the glasses off. "It's not that I couldn't make friends, Naruto. It's more like I don't want to make friends here. I know it sounds stupid, but I've already lost enough, Naruto. I couldn't bear with it should I lose more friends. So that's why I don't try to make any friends. Sure, I have some acquaintances, but they aren't close enough to call friends. I have a pretty good relationship with my landlady, a very friendly and cheerful lady. You met her, didn't you? When you searched for a place for me to stay." The blonde man nodded at her words, very well remembering the old lady, who gave Mira the apartment. He still cursed himself whenever he heard her talk like this. He should have been more adamant in persuading her to live with him. She should not have lived alone after all she was forced to endure. He needed to remedy to her situation. "Yeah, I remember her. But Mira, this isn't healthy, the way you try to live. At some point, you will break if you continue to isolate yourself." His words made her freeze. She bit her bottom lip, desperately trying to remain calm. He should not see her like this. She could not just burden her savior with her own problems, knowing that he had much more to solve of his own. I know what is best for me, Naruto. I don't want to lose anyone anymore." A tired sigh escaped his lips. "Mira, as your friend, yes, I am your friend Mira. I care for you even though apart from my short visits, we haven't had that much contact, but that is not important. What's important is to get you out of this, out of your shell. You need to live again, Mira. Mourning is alright, but this to simply try to live in the past will only bring you more pain and sorrow. Believe me, Mira, I know this the best." But her eyes started to water. "I can't anymore. I wouldn't be able to bear the pain of losing other friends. I am not stupid, Naruto. I know that even this world is not safe. Isn't it? They will come here, and each friend I might have made would die." A weak sob escaped her throat. The former Jinchuriki only gazed at the distressed woman before he grabbed her left hand and gently caressed her smooth skin. Mary Jane at first did not know how to react to the sudden contact, and wanted to push him off, but some part of her felt relieved and safe from his warm hand. More tears threatened to escape her eyes. Mira. I won't lie to you, I really don't, but you are correct. The Legion will find this world, and will try to destroy it just like they did with yours. But that thought alone shouldn't be enough reason for you not to bond with others, Mira. Friends are important, they will help you. I want to help you because, believe it or not, they won't be able to take me from you. And you can believe me, I've heard several times already that I am nearly impossible to get rid of. Some even called me worse than weed, and now that I think about it, that probably wasn't meant as compliment. A sobbed giggle could be heard from the young woman as she saw his thoughtful, cute expression. He looked just like a child right now. He was so adorable. The ivory-haired mage brought her free hand up to wipe her tears away, a slight smile present on her pretty lips. Only you, Naruto, only you somehow managed to make me laugh. Sometimes, I even think I lost the gift of a good laugh. There isn't much to laugh at. If I am honest, I used to laugh so much, back in fairy tale with my family and friends. Naruto never ceased to caress her petite hand, happy that she did not retract from the contact. It seemed she needed some sort of comfort. I am sorry, Mira. I feel responsible for what happened. Sniffing, the beautiful white-haired mage just glanced at her friend. What are you talking about? You saved me, you saved other people from certain death. You tried everything you could to save as many as you could, so why would you think so, Naruto? A pained smile formed on his lips. It's just that if I had came earlier to warn you and maybe even prevent the portal from being used in the first place, you might have had a chance. A chance to push them back without their main forces entering through the dimensional barrier. So many lives could have been saved if I had just been faster in finishing my dimensional crossing seal, although I don't even know if I would have arrived at your world. I didn't even know where I would have come out, to be honest. Mary Jane's watery eyes fell on the man sitting in front of her. Seeing his mournful expression made her heart clench. Even though he did not have any obligation to even come and warn them, the blonde man still tried to save them. It just showed her that he had a good heart, and did not want other people to suffer the same fate. She should be thankful to have come across this man. You shouldn't blame yourself, Naruto. You did what you could and managed to save some lives, even if the others didn't outright show it. Even if I don't show it, we are thankful to you. Thankful that someone tried to stand up to this foe. I am thankful, Naruto. The former Jinchuriki sighed deeply, his eyes hollow. Yeah, I managed to save some, but how many? Maybe a dozen. Yeah, a dozen compared to millions. That is nothing to be proud of, Mira, nothing to ease the regret I am feeling even till now. It will haunt me for the rest of my life, I fear. Naruto. The Transcendent quickly shook his head as he heard her low and gentle voice. His eyes quickly found hers and he immediately felt guilty. Here he had come to help her move on, and then it was her presence and gentle nature that managed to ease the sorrow he felt. The two of them had not deserved this fate, but yet here they were, and they needed to make the best out of it. And the best would be for the two of them to give each other some sort of comfort, knowing exactly how the other one felt. They knew the pain of losing everything and everyone they cherished. You're amazing, Mira. The woman only blinked at him, confused by his words. In fact, I came here to check on you and help you move on, to protect you from being alone any longer, and here I am, showering you with my own problems too. Truly pathetic of myself, to be honest. You need the comfort more than I do. Naruto looked down on the bar desk before he felt a petite hand on top of his own, which was still caressing her other one. The blonde being slowly lifted his gaze and met Mira's shining orbs, the tears doing nothing to hide her beautiful frame. I think we both need the comfort, Naruto. We both do. I guess we do, huh? The woman gave him a sincere smile. He truly loved her smile, her real smile. You are very special, Mira. There are truly not many people like you out there, people with such a pure and caring soul. The world would be a better place if there were many more like you. You never cease to amaze me, Mira. His words made the former fairy tale mage feel warm and special. A slight hint of pink sneaked on her cheeks as his eyes never stopped to look into her own orbs. Yes, she could get used to his company. Definitely get used to him. You're too kind, Naruto. I don't deserve your praise because I failed them, didn't I? I failed my family and guild. I couldn't do anything to prevent their deaths. I was frozen to the spot. I can't forget the fear and helplessness I felt the moment I saw their forms descend upon us. I will never forget the dying forms of my brother and sister. I will forever regret not being able to stand up to fight and protect them. Naruto only listened to her sorrowful low voice, knowing what was going on in her mind. I know how painful it is, Mira, but you can just let regret fill your life. Regret will always lead to one's downfall. Even though I never met your siblings and friends, I am pretty sure that they wouldn't want to see you like this. They would want you to live your life without sorrow and regret. They would simply want the best for you, Mira. The ivory-haired woman sobbed quietly. She already knew that. She knew that her family did not want to see her like this, so weak and fragile, simply mourning their deaths without moving on. And yet she still did it. She could not just let go of her past life. Mira gaining her attention, the blonde Transcendent gave her a warm smile. I know it is difficult, believe me I was, maybe I still am in the same boat, but you will overcome it. But not alone, Mira. You need friends that can shoulder the burden you carry, sharing the pain you currently feel. Mira, I want you by my side from now on. I won't let you live like this any longer. Mary Jane's eyes widened at his words before she lowered her head. And no, I couldn't I can just I am. You what, Mira? Tears were slowly falling down her cheeks while she clenched her eyes shut. I am weak and useless, Naruto. I can make a difference I couldn't make one that night, and I want be able to make a difference in the future. I want be of any use to you, Naruto. I am sorry. Not a second later did she found herself pressed against his broad chest while his arms were wrapped around her small frame, bringing her closer to the man she could call her only friend in this world. Naruto could feel her stiffen in his embrace, but she quickly lost her hesitance, and her hands slowly moved upwards to hold onto his chest. The shock in Mary Jane's eyes slowly faded away before she finally leaned into the warm embrace. Naruto rested his head on top of her own, his right hand moving up her back to slide through her soft silky hair. Don't say that, Mira. You are far from being useless and weak. So don't you dare think so little of you. Even if you think you have lost it, you are still powerful, you can still fight for what you think is right, you can still make something out of your life. He heard the young woman sobbing into his chest. You were never weak, Mira, nor will you ever be. You just need to find a new reason to live for, Mira, just like I did all those years ago, and maybe I could be the first person you wish to live for. Slowly, Mary Jane looked up, forcing the man to stop resting his head on hers to gaze down at her, a warm gleam shining in his dojutsu. As your friend, I hope you accept my proposal to come and live with Grayfia and me in my mansion. We have enough place for you and the house slowly becomes a bit more lively. I really hope you come with me, you can have new friends, Mira. You won't be alone anymore, nor will you ever in the future. The ivory-haired mage sobbed while gazing at the man, who came out of nowhere to save her. She bit her trembling bottom lip. Why you want me even if I may never find my old power again, knowing that I may never be able to help you? Do you really mean it, Naruto? Her innocent teary eyes made him smile warmly. Yes, Mira, I really want you by my side, even if you don't want to fight any longer, I still want you to come with me. I need you just as you need me, Mira, and together, we can achieve much more than we ever thought possible. The former fairy tale mage listened intently to his words before leaning her head back into his chest, enjoying the warmth he emitted and the reassuring beating of his heart. He made her feel safe, something she hadn't felt for a long time. What if we fail, Naruto? Her voice was low and full of hesitance. The man only hummed before planting a chaste kiss on her hair. Then we won't die alone, Mira, we wouldn't die alone. He could feel the sobbing woman nodding into his chest. He embraced her harder. We won't fail, Mira, that I can promise. And in a yellow flash, the two of them vanished. 1 hour later, Naruto's private rooms, city of Ko, Japan. The last living shinobi let out a tired sigh as he pushed the door to his bedroom open. Roughly 1 hour passed when he brought Mary Jane to his mansion, appearing right in the living room where Grayfia was currently reading one of her books. The former ultimate class devil quickly saw the emotional state of the white-haired human and decided to keep them alone for a moment, preparing some tea while her lover would make her comfortable. The Fiori mage calmed down afterwards while Naruto showed her the mansion where she would be living from now on. Grayfia accompanied them, and though she did not show any emotion on her face, Mary Jane could see that the woman was not that keen to know that she would be living here now. Not that the silver-haired beauty was unfriendly, far from it in fact. It was mostly due to her gentle and calm personality that the woman on Naruto's side did not show any sort of hostility.